Okay, the time is 9 a.m. and we will convene the meeting of the Seward County Board of Commissioners. The Open Meetings Act is posted on the wall as required and copies are available upon request. Please stand as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please make sure your phones are silenced. And Brandy, can you call the roll?
Hine.
Here.
Quadracki.
Here.
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 Here. All right, it takes us to item number 3, which is approving minutes from June 16th, 2026. Do we have a motion?
I'll move we approve the minutes of June 16, 2026.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Quadracki.
Yes.
Here.
Yes.
Hine.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes, that's 4, 1 absent, not voting to approve minutes of June 16th, 2026. Item number 4 is our consent agenda. That consists of a utility permit for Windstream, Nebraska to bore under Waverly Road to bring service to 1713 Waverly Road in the northeast quarter of Section 15, Township 11, Range 4, east of the 6 p.m. Annual report for Seward Saline Solid Waste Management Agency, and annual return of disposed items for Roads Department. Do we have a motion for the consent agenda?
Move to approve the consent agenda as read.
Second. Please call the roll.
Here.
Yes.
Hine.
Yes.
Quadracki.
Yes.
Yes, that is 4, 1 absent, not voting to approve the consent agenda. Item number 5 is anyone here from the public wish to speak? This is just in general. This isn't necessarily for the conditional use permit, but if anybody wishes to speak now, they sure can. Anyone? Okay. Any organizations? All right, no organizations. Any officials? Anything for us, Brandy? Okay. All right, then we'll go to item number 6, which is commissioner reports. And Scott, we'll start with you.
We had our meeting out at the landfill last Thursday, I believe. Got a lot of good information as far as how the operations go, um, changes that have been made in the last how many years. So it was well attended by different organizations in the county, and had a meeting with the interim director for SCCDP actually last night, and that was a good meeting. Learned a little bit more about the SCCDP and discussed a little budgeting. So that's basically what I have today.
Thank you, Scott. I attended a couple of department head meetings regarding the budget with Commissioner Hine. We met with the officials at the courthouse and also at the Justice Center. And then we had a third meeting with the Sheriff's Department with Commissioner Zabrocki, again, just reviewing budget information. Also had the opportunity to sit down with the jail director and assistant director, just sort of clarifying some information that will be on the agenda later today. As Scott mentioned, we had the site visit for GMP landfill, which is south of Lincoln. It was very interesting, just seeing them in action, seeing kind of how the waste is put in the actual landfill, learning about the liner. All of those are very interesting. Did receive several calls about the Planning Commission last week. Also received some calls from the Planning Commission members themselves. So just tried my best to give them guidance where I could. Received several calls on roads in one of my precincts. The precinct has not been maintained in a very long time, and that is a result of somebody retiring and being short-staffed. So there is a plan in place to make sure that's happened, and I believe at the end of last week they were already out there doing that. So I do appreciate the roads department for responding to that. Last night I had a SCCDP Personnel and Policies working group. That's basically the HR group for SCCDP. We were just discussing internal staffing. Additionally, we have been working on the Safe Streets and Roads grant, so the project through State Street. There is reporting for that, so we have to do quarterly reporting and then financial reports. Shout out to Heidi, who just jumped right in and took those. So JEO is obviously doing the work on that, and then we have to do the reporting. And then lastly, I did get an update from Brian Forrell, who is the county surveyor, on the issue with Milford. He does have an answer for us, so I do plan to meet with him tomorrow to discuss, and then we'll bring it back next week to decide next steps. That's it for me. Daryl?
Okay, I continue to spend time at public transit. I have been doing the performance reviews with staff. Most all are completed except for two, and I'll have those done here in the next week. I opted out of the city council meeting. Grandson baseball preempted council meeting. I went to the GNP site visit out at the landfill south of Milford. A lot of good information there. I did attend the 4th of July committee meeting, filling in for Commissioner Schmeeding. This is the last meeting prior to the celebration. Everything appears to be in order and they're moving along well, so nothing to report there. I attended Janet Hughes' town hall meeting this week. Property taxes were a big part of that discussion. Also had an SCCDP funding meeting with Colin Hine, and we'll hear more from him later today. Did attend the sheriff's budget meeting with Misty. We shared some information with the sheriff. I did take and drive out to the proposed salvage yard yesterday and just kind of drove through and got a lay of the land with that. And also drove a few county roads, and I found at least 1 mile of Superior Street that really needed attention, and that was called into the highway superintendent to address. That's all I have.
Thank you. Reagan? As Commissioner Amick had reported, we met with multiple department heads and elected officials last week in regard to the upcoming budget and valuations in general, and kind of where we're starting at in preparation for this next fiscal year budget. I also attended the site visit at GMP landfill. I found it to be very interesting. I also appreciated the fact that they had a lot of pictures associated with kind of the process and how that works. Also had an opportunity to kind of put my hands on a piece of the liner. And so it was really interesting to see how that's actually welded together and then how holds that material in place. I also met with Colin Hine from SCCDP in preparation for an agenda item later today. Had a great discussion as always. So I appreciated the opportunity to meet with Colin prior to today. I received a lot of calls and text messages, some with images related to road conditions, as well as some culvert issues that were causing some significant drainage issues. So I forwarded those on to Trevor and John. They have gotten out there immediately yesterday with one, and they have a plan to go and clean out a culvert today. So thankful for their quickness in response. I also had a community member contact me regarding a suggestion to hold the Planning Commission public hearings here in the Commissioner's room. We do already have microphones in place, so it does make it easier for individuals to hear, as opposed to buying something that will potentially be moved. So I don't know if that's something that an idea that the board wants to entertain or not. I think that, in listening to what you guys have shared over the last couple of months regarding difficulty hearing those who are speaking, I think that it might be a good use of the technology that we currently have. We also have the opportunity to do an overflow into the library where we could put any information that's being shared up on the TV in there. Isn't that correct?
I don't believe so. No, we would have to have somebody in there working the TV separately.
Okay.
I do want to share though that we do have a potential plan for that would be pretty cost efficient. So that if the meeting were to be, say, at the Civic Center or at the West Wing, that I think that we do have a solution that we're working on that wouldn't cost nearly what, say, the sound system here did. So
Okay.
I think that Marissa's working on that with Tom, and we'll bring it back around budget.
Okay.
Again, very cost efficient, and hopefully it will work. But I will echo that. You heard us speaking last week. It was terrible. You could not hear in the back of the room.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'm also, in the absence of the Aging Services Program Manager position, that being vacant currently, I have been continuing to check emails and phone calls. And I did complete some audits with the assistance of our prior Aging Services Program Manager and an individual from Aging Partners at the request of the Treasurer's Office. And so everything was fine.
It's been accounted for as far as who payments and stuff were being made to, so we are good to go there. That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, at this time, we will go to our 910 timed item, which is Resolution 3934, a short form plat for Finke Edition in the northwest quarter of Section 36, Township 10 North, Range 3, east of the 6 p.m. Morning, Marissa.
Good morning. Um, Joyce West and Lawrence Fink, are personal representatives for Robert Fink. They have requested the short form plat. The intention of this application is to separate 5.74 acres from the existing 89.05 acres. The short form plat meets the requirements of Seward County. It is not in water conservation. It does not have floodplain concerns. Taxes were paid in full as of May 20th, 2026. Planning Commission recommended approval with a vote of 9-4-0 against.
Thank you. Are there any questions about this resolution?
I have
No.
none.
Is there anyone here that wishes to speak for the resolution or against it? All right, seeing no one. Just a question for you. Is there a home on it that they're separating? That's what they're doing? Okay,
Mhm.
that was what my question was. Okay, thank you. No other questions? We will take a motion.
I'll move that we approve Resolution 3934, a short form plat for the Finke Edition in the northwest quarter of Section 36, Township 10 North, Range 3, east of the 6th p.m.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Zabrowski,
Yes.
Hein,
Yes.
Herrick,
Yes.
Yes, that is 441 absent not voting to approve resolution 3934.
Misty, can I have you sign this now?
I can do that.
Sorry.
Okay, we'll just take a quick 1-minute pause before our 9:15 type item. Got it. Okay. Hopefully we keep the file straight. I know. Okay, the time is 9:15. We'll move to our 9:15 timed item, which is a public hearing for a conditional use permit for Prestige Auto Parts LLC to operate an auto salvage yard in the northwest quarter of Section 7, Township 10, Range 4, east of the 6 p.m. Need a motion to open the public hearing?
I will move that we open the public hearing.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Hein,
Yes.
Zabrowski,
Yes.
Herrick,
Yes.
Yes, that is 441 absent not voting to open the public hearing. Just to give everybody in the audience an idea of how we're going to do this. Can everybody hear us okay back there? You can all hear us okay? Okay, perfect. We are going to have our zoning administrator present the conditional use permit, and then we'll hear from the applicant, should he be here, if he's here.
Is he here?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So if the applicant shows up, we will hear from him, and then we will hear testimony from everyone else. Okay. And so, just a show of hands, how many of you are planning to speak today? Just so we can make sure we give everyone enough time. If you could raise them up a little bit
Raise them
higher
up
for
high.
me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
He's here.
Okay. So around 5. Bob, you were raising your hand too. One. Okay, got it. Okay, and then if you could help us just with the minutes and record keeping, there's some forms. There's some on the edge right there and some here. If you are planning to speak, make sure you just give us your name. Just spell your name for us when you come up here. Put it on that sheet and you can just leave it right here on the desk, okay? Everybody have that? Okay, Marissa, go ahead.
Okay, so some information on this. It's for, as it states, a automotive salvage yard. I just have some information that I wanted to share going forward to clarify some items. So when the applicant purchased the property, he purchased it as is. It was previously being used as a storage area for vehicles and other items. The applicant has been working with the previous tenants to get those vehicles and other items removed. As I said, this isn't going to be a traditional salvage yard. With items placed all over the property, the applicant has stated that he will be bringing in 2 to 4 cars a week and dismantling them inside of buildings 8 and 9, and then selling the parts that were recovered online. The remainder of the dismantled vehicles will be hauled off. There will be no storage of vehicles outside of the buildings. And then I just have some information about our regulations and how this pertains to it. So lot coverage per regulation 2.03.269. Lot coverage shall mean the portion of a lot or building site which is occupied by any building or structure excepting paved areas, walks, and swimming pools, regardless of whether said building or structure is intended for human occupancy or not. Max lot coverage percentage per regulation 4.03.06. Conditional use max lot coverage is 10%. The total amount of square feet for the 22.03 acres is 959,626.8 square feet. The total lot coverage is 176,618 square feet, which gives us an 18.4% coverage area, meaning that either 80,655 square feet of buildings would need to be removed to get to the 10%, or he would need to purchase more land to add to that his already existing 22 acres. The applicant has stated that there will be only 2 to 4 rollback tow trucks at the property each week. When I spoke with the road superintendent, he stated that there would be no need for a haul route to be assigned. On page 12 of the Seward County land use matrix, a salvage yard is listed as an item that is allowable in A1 with a conditional use permit. During the May Planning Commission meeting, the applicant stated that he was doing business at the proposed location. The applicant was served with a cease and desist on June 3rd, 2026. The applicant was also charged the unpermitted fee of $1,800 for conducting the business without a conditional use permit. And that was paid on June 15th. Planning Commission had placed 2 conditions on the permit. The applicant would need to install an 8-foot opaque fence around the entire property. The applicant must remove the excess square footage to reach the 10% lot coverage. And Planning Commission recommended denial of the conditional use permit with a vote of 7 for, 2 against.
Thank you, Marissa. Okay, so as I stated before, we're going to hear from the applicant first, and we'll we'll hear commentary from that from then on. So Vitaly, did you want to come forward and speak for the permit? And just make sure you state your name for the record. And if you could fill out one of these forms so that we get the spelling of your name correctly, that would be helpful too.
I am Vitaly Martinyuk with Prestige Rentals, Prestige Parts. I am asking for permission just to use the last two buildings to do it indoor, just an online business. We're trying to do a small business, nothing, not a huge salvage yard or junkyard or anything. We're just trying to do everything indoor. Everything will be kept indoor, and everything will be removed off the premises once it's done. Everything's going to be on shelves and just put away normally. We have oil getting removed, everything. The place where we will be working, there is concrete there. So there's nothing going into the soil, nothing to harm the environment by any means.
Thank you. I have some questions for you if that's okay.
Yes.
All right. So when did you purchase or when did you first start operating on the site?
When I purchased it, April 30th, we were making just shelves and putting parts on the shelves and stuff.
So that was the first time you had done anything for Prestige Auto there, was it
Yeah.
April 30th?
Yep.
Okay. So prior to April 30th, how many of the vehicles that are there right now were there?
Um, there was more there then than there is now.
Than there is now.
Yes.
Okay. And then the next question I have for you is, so initially, I think was the first person you spoke with back in November about this possibility, and I suggested that you went in front of the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission advised you to apply for a conditional use permit to be able to operate, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Right. All right. So when we heard from you in May, you had already begun operating. Is that right?
We were just putting, yeah, you could say that. We were just setting up shelves. We had a semi-trailer there, and we were just putting everything from the semi-trailer into the buildings, and we were just putting up racking inside there.
Are you operating out there today?
There's just parts there right now, storage.
So you're operating today
Yes.
without the conditional use.
Yes.
Okay. Next question for you. I heard at both planning. I was able to be at both planning commission meetings. There was a question about trucks coming in and out. So you mentioned 2 vehicles per week when you're where you want to be. How
Correct.
many trucks are coming in and out today?
Probably about the same right now, but they're removing vehicles from there, and
So
they're
you're
hauling up the scrap.
and how many are you bringing in today?
In the past 2 weeks, nothing.
How many were you bringing in between April and the last 2 weeks?
We were just bringing them in between, sorry, what was the?
Between April and you said the last 2 weeks, there's only been a couple. How many did you bring in between April and the last 2 weeks?
Probably about maybe 3 to 4 a week.
Okay. Okay. And then I guess I just want to go back and ask. There was a comment made about a fire out there. Can you give us any insight onto how the fire started?
So there was a fire. We had a fire permit
Burn permit.
for one day, and I guess the next day there's guys there that didn't understand and they assumed that it was okay, and then they decided it was okay to burn like half a fishing boat. It was like a fiberglass fishing boat. So, but I went to court for that. I took the responsibility of it because it's my property. I did pay a fine on that.
The people that were burning, are they your staff then?
No, they were there. They were there helping clean up.
Okay. Okay. All right, last question for you. Why did you start operating without getting the conditional use permit?
I honestly had no idea. We had a fire in Prestige Auto Sales in Lincoln. I had a fire in my building and we were rebuilding everything, and I needed to move all the parts somewhere. So I was just bringing all the parts there. I was renting from Scott, the previous owner of the property, and I was just using it as storage. I didn't think it was there's numerous people that have storage there for tractors and whatnot. I didn't think I was doing anything illegal just to leave, put shelves in there and just leave parts on storage instead of.
And then, sorry, I said last question, but I have one more question, and that is, so end game, your plan would be to clean up all of the vehicles outside of the buildings, is that correct?
Yes,
Would there still be storage in the rest of the buildings?
there's belongings inside of the buildings. My goal is to have all the vehicles that are outside to be put inside the building, but I'm still working with previous tenants to remove everything inside because they're not completely removed.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions?
Um,
Go ahead.
so my understanding, and Marissa, please let me know if I'm incorrect in this, but you had been given a cease and desist to stop operating, and you had been assigned a fine from the county, correct? And yet you're continuing to operate without the conditional use permit ongoing?
We're not operating, we're not doing anything. We just have storage there right now.
I guess I'm confused because you said that you were still bringing in some cars.
As
So,
as storage inside the building, I mean, it's my property. I thought, I mean, I could store vehicles inside. We're not conducting business there. I'm not doing any sales or anything out of there right now. After we pay the fine, there's nobody there that's doing anything. There's just I have a couple guys there helping clean up the property right now.
So your primary business, I think I know where it's located. I think you're in Cornhusker in Lincoln, are you not?
Correct, yes.
What makes you want to come out here? Why don't you take this operation to Lancaster County or to Lincoln?
I just didn't find the space to do anything like this there, and just a big enough building to just keep everything inside in one area.
I think I remember reading this, but clarify for me. I know that there are state regulations around salvage operations. Have you complied with all of the state requirements to operate a salvage yard?
I would, yes.
Have you?
Yeah, there's, I mean, to do an indoor operation, to get an indoor license, even in Lancaster County, it's not difficult to do. I could have got one at our dealership. I just don't have the space to do it. For indoor, it's a lot easier. That's why I would like to find a building to do something indoor and just keep everything inside the premises.
Go ahead, Scott.
You you had mentioned previous tenants. Whose vehicles are they?
There's tractors, there are old antique cars. There's actually there's a gentleman that's on Cornhusker Highway down the street from me, Autocraft. He rents a big building there. He keeps all of his old cars and parts I think he has in there. There's a gal that has I don't know how much furniture in there that just it's been there for years. I mean just all kinds
Okay,
of
so these are now your tenants.
yes, correct.
Okay. You have leases with them or anything like that?
Yes.
So how I was doing a little research on this, and I had seen, and I know this doesn't have anything to do with you, but 1985 is when they built it, and there's been no less than 29 complaints through either the Department of Environmental Quality, which is now Department of Water, Environment, and Energy, from 85 till now. So from it looks like there was an inspection on March 11th, 2022, performed by the Department of Water, Energy, and Environment that would indicate that the turkey production was no longer active. So you weren't out there during the turkey production.
No, no, sir.
So when did you first start utilizing that property? Were you a tenant of the previous owner?
Correct. It was.
Okay. Do you have anything that shows a lease when you had started your tenancy?
Not really. It was just kind of word of mouth. I mean, I told them we had a fire at our building and I needed a place to move a couple semi trailers.
Okay.
they were just full of just our parts. We had miscellaneous parts from the dealership at Cornhusker Highway we have. And he said it was okay to just to park them there for now.
Let me kind of fade back a little bit on that fire at your building on Cornhusker Highway. That happened quite a few years ago, did it not?
A year and a half ago. Yes.
I thought that building had been sitting empty for a while.
No, we actually we were rebuilding. We just had final occupancy last week.
Okay. So the fire was just a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it was in October of it's in October. It's gonna be 2 years. So
Okay. And that's pretty close to like that barbecue place, right? Or am I thinking of somewhere else?
it's out. We're out by the Lincoln Airport, out by
Okay.
I-80.
I am thinking of someplace else then. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So
Hey Scott, before you move on in relation to the lease question, Marissa, did the previous owner have a permit to operate a storage facility?
No.
Okay. And Vitaly, did you realize that you would also need a permit to operate a storage facility?
I did not.
Okay. I just want to make that clear. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Scott.
no, that's fine. So and like I said, this doesn't apply to you, but there's a history of complaints with the EPA and the Department of Water, Energy, and Environment. And I did find out, or I did see in March 11, 2022, that they had confirmed uh, uh, a stockpile area that warranted a complaint. And then on February 11, 2026, it seems like the site was no longer used for feeding turkeys. And then this was this was actually from the actual site with the Nebraska Department of Water, Energy, and Environment that said on February 11, 2026, I found that the site is no longer used for feeding turkeys. The buildings were all open and it looked to be turned into a scrapyard. Okay, so between 2016 and 2020, the far north building and part of building 4 was removed, and I know you didn't have anything to do with that. In 2023, the west half of building 2 was removed. Building 4 was completely removed. Google Earth shows on September 27, 2024, there were no less than 65 vehicles, including what appears to be semi-trailers, campers, trucks, and cars. And I'm assuming what that relates to was the previous tenants.
Correct.
Okay. And I've driven by this before. It's in my district. I've driven by it. I've really never noticed it, and I think part of that is because the tree coverage did hide that a lot. But the last Google Earth picture was at the September 27, 24. So I can't confirm, when a majority of this stuff showed up, other than between 2023, it looked like that's where a lot of it came in. So with that being said, what are you going to do with all the stuff that was there, and whose responsibility is it to clean that up?
It's my responsibility to clean it up, and I've sent everybody letters, and I put it on their garage doors they need to remove everything that's outside. And there's people that have been there for 10 years, 5 years, and they're working on removing it.
Okay. So you're saying that there's been storage there for 10 years?
To my understanding, yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know when exactly the turkeys stopped
Right.
the whole.
Okay. And you'd mentioned that you have several tenants and you've given them notice to remove their
Correct, and they're
property.
currently working on removing it.
Okay. So have you done any property upgrades since you purchased it?
Yes, we have went through a lot of the roofs and repaired the sheets of metal that are coming up or that were coming up. So we've done all that already.
Okay.
And instead of the sliding door, we the sliding doors we put in garage doors.
That's in the existing buildings,
Correct.
all of them, or just select?
We put in 7 garage doors.
Okay. All right. Any concrete work?
And building 8, yes, we did put concrete.
So
Um,
you put a floor in it?
yes, correct.
Okay. Okay. I think that's all I have right now.
Thank you. We'll bring you back up here before we end, so
Okay.
we'll let you have the chance to respond. So we're going to start. Is there anyone else here that wishes to speak for the permit? And if so, you'd come forward now. Sure.
On the fee that he was assessed for the conditional use permit, it's a fee, not a fine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Seeing nobody that wishes to speak for, we'll take those that wish to speak against the permit. And we're going to give everyone 3 minutes. If you hear the beeper, we'll just ask that you just sort of try to wrap your comments up, okay? You want me to start? Bob, we'll start with you. Nobody's running to the table. I see you out there. And then Bob, if you could just state your name for the record.
Bob Levins, Seward, Nebraska. Am I supposed to sign one of these forms?
Yes.
Please.
Technology.
You got it. You got it.
Let me go to 3 minutes.
You can go ahead whenever you're ready. Yeah, just leave it right there. Mhm.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm here on my behalf. I have a 20-acre tract that is about a half a mile located from this property. And my daughter lives in that same quarter, and I'm also kind of speaking for her. I think she may want to speak as well. This has been kind of a strange proceeding from the very beginning, because at the time of the initial hearing before the Planning Commission, the only item that was public was a single sheet of paper that was an application with nothing filled on the application relative to square footage of the buildings, and no drawings, no dimensions. And I understand prior to the hearing or the final approval that there were some things that were submitted. I've seen those. We've not heard how the applicant would intend to comply with the building surface area. Right now, it's way, 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 way off. This is a substantial piece of property, and this is a substantial development. It's on a property that has buildings that, I have never been in them. I have never inspected them. I've never been on the property, but they certainly appear to be what we would call substandard buildings, and certainly not buildings that would normally be usable in a commercial operation. It's my understanding that there has been a significant amount of crushed rock or crushed concrete that was brought in. I don't know where that was put, whether it was just in the drives or whether it was also in the buildings. I do not know what the floors of the buildings are. I assume that they are not concrete. In the salvage operation, there's always a problem with spill, leakage, removal of liquids, and contamination of the soil. This property has already been involved in environmental issues and environmental investigations. In February of this year, their inspection indicated it looked like it was a salvage yard or a junkyard. At that time, it's perplexing, some of the photographs that show the number of vehicles on the property. One of the photographs that was submitted, I believe it was submitted by the applicant or it was by the building inspector or the building zoning officer that shows, I believe it was a February or a 2024 overhead. And it just virtually shows that no vehicles there. So this hasn't been going on for a long time as far as vehicles being stored on the property. At least it looked to me like there were hardly any vehicles stored there. The property, there's also a photograph in the Eagle View of the county assessor's records that was also attached. It was, I think it was dated March 27th of this year, approximately. That was 3 days before the deed was conveyed to the applicant. And, you know, at the time of the public hearing, he indicated that there were only 30 or 40 or 50 cars out there at the time that he took the property over. And if you look at the drawing or if you look at the overhead picture, I tried to count. It looks to me like there's at least 150 cars there. There's no indication on any of the records as to if there the water availability. I looked on the records, and it appears that there is one well through the NRD folks that's located near the road. It has a 2-inch column, which is not very big, and pumps 30 gallons a minute. There's no drawing as to where the water lines are, what buildings are served with water. There's no indication of septic systems, whether there are any existing septic systems. There are 2 houses on the property, but we don't know. Nobody, you know, without an investigation, it's impossible to tell what that serves. There's no engineering study showing the the drainage, what happens with how to protect the soil from contamination. Most salvage yards and salvage operations require that those destructive operations be done on concrete. I don't know if there's any concrete out there. I do know there was a concrete truck out there a couple weeks ago in the far corner. Don't know what he was pouring, but I would think that this site should be required to protect the soil from contamination, especially on in an area that's already been had problems with the prior usage of it.
Bob, if you could wrap up your comments
Pardon?
for us. If you could wrap up your comments for us. If you could wrap up your comments for us.
You're out of
I'm
time, Bob.
sorry.
If you can just finish your comments for us.
I'm
You're
sorry.
out of time,
I'm
sir.
Oh, I'm out of time?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, but if you want to finish what you were saying, just complete your sentence if you'd like to, and then
No, I think I've said enough. I do know that the FedEx trucks are picking stuff up every day.
Okay.
So the suggestion that this business is not in operation is certainly not true. There are lots and lots of vehicles traveling back and forth, pulled by pickups, pulled by trucks, pulled by cars, and on some occasions, pulled by garbage trucks. The road was terrible. It's been improved significantly recently. Now we got the dust, but there's a lot of traffic out there, and a lot of it happens between 5 and 11 o'clock at night.
Okay.
I
Thank
guess that's
you.
enough for me. Somebody
Thank
else
you, Bob.
can
Thank you.
continue.
Thank you. All right. So next, anybody, you said your daughter, anybody at any point in time, if you'd like to speak, just come on up. I know there was at least 6 hands before. Hi. And the same thing, if you just state your name for the record and fill this
Sure.
out for us.
Jessica Justice.
Okay.
And I live close by. So I do what Bob said about the Eagle View imagery. I actually printed it off, but there is, from 2024, there's hardly anything there. And then 2026, a few days before the sale date, there is well over 30 cars there. I mean, it's, you can look at it up on the,
We're looking at
Um,
these two, right? Just to make sure that we're looking at the same thing.
it's the
Google Earth.
Eagle View imagery. There's
Yeah,
like
yep,
different, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. Okay.
So that was a concern that he's been moving things there for a very long time. Also, I wanted to talk about the fires. They had said that his building burnt down in Lincoln. According to the 1011 website, it was from an employee using a saw accidentally cut a fuel line that sparked the fuel. So that's one of my concerns is, what's going to stop that from happening in these turkey buildings if they're cutting up cars, potentially creating fires. Also, we continue to smell like a chemical burning smell coming from the property and smoke. I did talk to Jeremy Dingus, the Milford Fire Chief, and he was kind of upset to learn that there was still burning going on. He says that they've gotten several verbal warnings and then they were cited by the sheriff's department for that. And so it sounds like he still continues to burn things even after he was cited. Also, I wanted to talk about the EPA and Wolf Creek. It runs probably less than a quarter mile to the east of their property. And back in 2027, I did find somewhere where the Seward Turkey Enterprises was cited for polluting Wolf Creek. And they found that it was precipitation related runoff that was washing into Wolf Creek. There were no barriers or anything preventing that. And so that's another one of my concerns is that, the fluids from these vehicles may also wash into Wolf Creek just from the rainwater. Um, so yeah, those are my main concerns with that. So, that's all I have.
Thank you. Just before you go, are there any questions from the board?
No.
Okay, sounds great.
I do have a question. When did you contact the Milford Police Department most recently about the
Um,
smell and
This was probably 3 weeks to a month ago. It was after the last meeting, maybe like a week or so after. And he was very disappointed to learn that it was still continuing. And they've even burned since then, even since I've called. There's on a regular basis, there's like a chemical smell, and then you can see smoke coming from the property. So, not sure what they're burning.
did you call that in as well?
I did not call in the last one. No, I wasn't home. I heard about it after the fact from my family. Um, but,
Thank you.
so, yeah.
Next. Anybody else? Morning.
I'm Byron Libby, and I farm directly next to the property. And I guess I'm kind of concerned with the slope of the land. It kind of can go both ways, and so we farm there. So we're kind of concerned with, any runoff out in our field, what it may be. We also are concerned, what really does this bring to the community of Seward? Are we going to be, Lincoln's junkyard? Are we going to want to be something that people want to come to our community? You start letting junkyards come here out of Lincoln, and what does it really bring to Seward? It's just a little bit of tax money, or is there going to be good jobs for anybody? I guess that's one thing you really need to look at. Is this something we really want? So we have, a good community, and do we want to just be a dumping ground? So.
Thank you, Byron. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you. Next.
Good morning.
Morning.
Pamela Barr Brady. We reside on 210, which is just around the corner from the property in question. Our biggest concerns are, number one, the level of traffic that has increased over the time. Number two, if he purchased the property with the intent to have a salvage lot in the very beginning, why were the permits not obtained? Why is he still operating today? There is a Precision LLC box on the driveway that he's still accepting parts, delivering parts. Currently, right now, you can drive by it. What guarantee as residents in the area do we have that this board will stick to the zoning requirements, the permit requirements, and everything else that's required for a legitimate business to operate? I'm all for free enterprise and people having a business and earning an income. But living next door to a junkyard with the traffic, the smell, the activity, the burning, the firearms, I won't even go into the firearms that happen on that property. I don't know if there are people living there. There are lights and campers every night. You can drive by at any given time, morning, afternoon, daytime, nighttime, and it's more than a salvage yard. I don't know what's going on. And does Seward County really want to have,
I don't know what's going on in those buildings. There could be, who- we don't know what's going on in those buildings, but there's a lot of activity that's going on besides just a U-Pullet yard. So that's our major concern is we're hoping that this board will stick to keeping Seward County a beautiful countryside city to live in. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Just 1 second for me.
Yes.
Does anybody have any question specific to what she said?
Pam, you were talking about some of the other things that are occurring. You had mentioned that there's a drop box there.
There's a drop box on the edge of the driveway. It says Precision Parts LLC. I don't know what they drop in that box because I've never stopped.
Is it like a
and looked.
mailbox or is it bigger? It's bigger
a
than
big
that.
box,
Okay.
like a FedEx drop box,
Okay.
like somebody in the country would have a
box,
box
right.
for FedEx packages to be delivered. I don't even know what building they're operating or supposedly operating out of. But again, my concern is if he moved things onto the property or if there are tenants, what agreement did he have with the previous owner for these current lessees that have their things in storage? What's the intent? What's the plan? What's the timeline for removing all of this stuff that's on the property? What's going to happen to the remaining buildings that are on the property? Are they going to continue to deteriorate and fall apart and become an eyesore to the rest of the people that farm and live in that area? There are so many concerns, the traffic, the recent rain that we had a week and a half ago. You couldn't drive up Superior. You just could not drive up Superior. And even with a four-wheel drive vehicle, of which we have, you just can't drive up the road. So,
Can I ask you a question?
yes, please.
Totally just playing devil's advocate. This doesn't mean I support or am opposed in any
Right.
way. So you brought up a good point. You were saying, you don't know what's going on in the buildings and you don't know what the plan is. A lot of people have made those comments. My question for you is if Mr. Vitale were to make it clear, so like let's say hypothetically every vehicle is removed. He has a plan in place for drainage to address some of those concerns. He's made sure that there's concrete floors. He's addressed the building coverage issue. Let's say he's obtained a permit to operate a storage facility within the other buildings. If he were to address all of those things and he were to, have conversations with neighbors, if it really was just 2 trucks per week, as he is saying it is, would this be something that you would support?
Absolutely. I
Okay.
am 100% for free enterprise and for people to be able to make a living. But the way it currently
Sure.
is unacceptable. And it should be unacceptable to this board and to this county.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Quick question for you.
Yes.
Can you clarify what you meant by firearms? Or did I not hear that
There's,
correctly?
I know we live in the country, so there
Right.
are people that have firearms and fire, but at odd hours in the dark, I know what a rifle sounds like. There are firearms being fired. At who, at what, and we have other neighbors that are, I apologize, I don't know some of their names, but they live on 210 just to the south of the old church. I'm not sure what the name of the church is, and they have complained.
Did you call the sheriff's office?
We have talked to the sheriff's department, yes.
Okay, so when you're talking about gunfire at night, you've called the sheriff's department.
Yes,
Okay, and officer came out.
yes,
Okay, so they have a recording
Yes.
or record of that.
yes.
Okay, because I was going to argue with you a little bit about property rights as far as using firearms. I mean, I live out in the country and I've been known to use firearms before. I don't do it at nighttime, but
That's what was startling because we have neighbors that, they have little ranges set up on their property and they use their firearms. But to hear a rifle go off after dark,
so did the sheriff's office actually contact with anybody
I
at the
don't
location?
know. I apologize.
They didn't follow up with you at all then?
No,
Okay. All right. Thank you.
thank you.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nope. Thank you very much. That's fine. Anybody else? Okay, seeing none, then Mr. Vitale, you can come forward and we'll give you a chance to speak again. And then I'm sure we all have some questions for you again.
So in regards to the firearms, that was just said, I don't know anything about it. I do know about several months ago, there was a gentleman there, that he was, I guess him and his girlfriend got into a fight, and he has cars there that he's been there for a long time. And I'm in the process of having him move out. He told me he's gonna have his cars moved out by the 20th. Today's the 23rd. There's still cars there.
So can I stop you for a second, just to be clear? So it sounds like there was some sort of domestic incident between
Yes,
him and another person on the property.
yes.
He has stuff that was several months ago.
He was in jail,
Okay.
and now his dad or somebody, I think he's out of jail now. His dad or somebody's helping him move everything out. But I know there
So it was
was,
supposed to be out by the 20th. Today's the 23rd. So are you going to be removing that?
yeah, so I'm in the process of doing all this legal matter stuff now. But there was a sheriff I called there before, to come out there because that same gentleman was sleeping in his car, and he found a bunch of pills there. My guys saw the guy that was cleaning up there, Mike. He saw a bunch of pills there, and I guess they were all his prescription pills, according to the sheriff. That's what he told me.
So question for you. I mean, that's concerning to me,
That's
right?
concerning to me
We
also.
have you're essentially you have people who are storing stuff there who are in or having domestic issues, and they are having substance abuse issues, and they're sleeping in their vehicles and you don't know about it, and so I have a serious concern about that. That's not allowable. That's not what
That's
the
not allowed.
property is for. So
100%.
how, I mean, and you say you have random people working for you right now. Somebody made a comment about sleeping in campers out there. It's not a campground.
No,
So, can you address that?
I don't know anybody who's sleeping in a camper there. Um, and I know there's a couple campers there. They're in process of getting everything them removed, but because of the rain, they're stuck and it's hard. But that's all going away. There's gonna be no campers there outside, nowhere. And about the whole removing people's belongings, I talked to the sheriff that was out there. He told me it's a domestic matter I need to bring up to the court or whatever, and I talked to my attorney. He's working on getting everything situated where I could, if somebody doesn't comply, I could legally start. And I don't have random people working there. I have a couple guys that do a lot of the maintenance at our building in Lincoln. They're working, cleaning up the property, cleaning up the buildings, cutting down dead trees. Just I had two semi trucks come in from 84 Lumber. I bought sheet metal to fix up the buildings because some of the sheet metal was just old, ripped up. So some of them they're getting all replaced, but all the roofs are good there. The buildings are all metal structure, so they're not going anywhere. Um, the what was tore down, I guess it was tore down, but the current buildings that are there, they're solid. There's no issues with them.
So let's talk about those buildings then. Right now, you're exceeding the maximum lot coverage. So what was your plan to address that?
There's one like half a building, I could just tear it all the way down.
What's the square footage on that?
I don't know. Sorry, off the top of my head, I don't.
Okay, so it sounds like you're 80,000 square feet over. So you would have to remove 80,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you talk about the ongoing fires? You mentioned that you had a permit before and there was a fire again the next day, but it sounds like there continues to be fires.
Not that I know about. I was there. There's no fires. There's a little fire pit that the guy was. One of the guys there was just having lunch and he was burning a log or some dead trees that were there. But it's all contained in a little area. There's no. I have been there numerous times a day, and I have never smelled any chemicals or any smell that was talked about. I don't know what that is, and I would like to have somebody explain to me what smell.
I think if you were to talk to your neighbors, they could probably fill you in on some of those things. So I would always recommend talking to your neighbors. That's like first thing out of the gate. I feel like you should have been talking to the neighbors to be explaining some of this. But in regards to the ongoing fires, so you say it's within a fire pit. You just mentioned that you were cutting down dead trees. So like a big burn pile still requires a burn permit.
There wasn't a burn pile. It was just like the couple branches there. I think they're small, like
Okay.
maybe a foot.
Okay.
That was the only thing I've seen in the past probably month that I've been there. There's no big fires. After the fire permit that we've had, that's it. There was no.
And Vitaly, you keep saying, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know anything about this, but these things seem to be happening. So I'm a little concerned. You said you don't have employees out there, but then recently you said you do have some people out there that are potentially
Cleaning
working
up,
for you.
yes, yes.
So it sounds like you really don't know what's going on out there. And maybe that's the first problem.
Right now I will have more time dedicated to this property because, like I said earlier, that we just did a final inspection on our dealership in Lincoln. So I will have more time dedicated to organize this property. And if anybody wants to see, you drive by our dealership. We did, I mean, I did everything top notch. I try to take good care of the property that I own, and I try to maintain everything to the best.
One more thing, you mentioned when we very first started and I asked you about operation, you said you were not operating, you were just putting things on shelves, right? But then you explained that you had brought cars in, and then we just heard that there are several FedEx trucks coming in and out, and we heard that you have a FedEx drop box. So to me, that sounds like you're operating.
There's FedEx dropping off packages that we buy under Prestige Parts. They drop off packages there, or their customer returns that
So
are.
you're wanting to operate a business as Prestige Parts, and you are operating a business, right, without the permit.
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess we're not dismantling vehicles. We're not doing anything.
But you're still operating your business.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Questions from the board?
No, you actually asked all of the questions that I had written down.
I do have a question. So can you paint a clear picture for the board what you plan on doing proceeding from today? What do you want to, what do you see? How long is it going to take to get everything cleaned up? Is that your intent, or what? Can you
100%.
paint us a clear picture as to what you want to do with this property?
My vision for the property is to have all the buildings in tip-top shape, have nothing outside. I wanted to have a front gate where nobody goes in or out after 6 p.m. Just clean up the place, and where we do operate, to where anything gets done dismantling, there is concrete in there. We poured a pad of about probably 100 by 50 in width, concrete inside. So there's concrete in there in the building that they're doing anything. There were even the guys would be walking on, and halfway through the shelves there's concrete there. So if I had anybody working there, everything would be done on concrete. There's nothing that would be done on dirt. Yeah, and I have gravel we put there on the driveway. I mean, I would like the place to look very nice. That's my purpose of it. I don't want it to look like a junkyard or salvage yard. My goal is, that's not my intention. That's not what I'm going for. I want it to look like a very nice, prestigious place to go to.
So Vitaly, in that regard, then, I know that terminating leases and removing property takes time. It does. It could take
Yes.
like 3-4 months.
Very,
So it sounds like you're in that process.
yes.
And you said that you want to have a nice place and you want it to look nice. So my question is, before applying for the conditional use permit, why wouldn't you have done that?
Because I only purchased it 2.5 months ago maybe. So it wasn't my property. I can't really
I
do
get what you're
much
saying,
to
but
it.
what I'm saying is before you started operating, why not clean up the site, have those discussions with your neighbors before applying and operating?
This is my first time ever doing anything like this. I honestly have no idea
Okay.
how it works or how.
Okay.
But you were operating before you purchased.
We just was using it as storage. It was just a storage place where we had bunch of cars inside and
But you had brought cars in.
correct, yes,
So
because
you
I
were
was renting. I was renting from the previous previous owner.
So what is your timeline? Do you say you want to get this cleaned up and make it look really good? What's your timeline? What do you see your timeline as?
Before my goal is right now to really focus on after this whole leg incident. I'm trying to do as much as I can, and I have my relatives helping me. I want to try to clean up the buildings and make everything because half the buildings, some of them have sheet metal, some of them have like a tarp they had there. I want to get them all covered up, everything clean and very organized before the winter time. I want it to look like a good place, like a nice place, and if, I mean, God willing, everything goes well, I would like to put up the gates. Um, I had the guy that did a fence around my building, the back half. I had him go out there to draw up a fence, and he would put gates there. And so I think before the winter, I would like all the mess cleaned up. That would be my goal. I would strive to do that, and get everybody that isn't supposed to be there or has their junk outside, everything removed. That would be my goal.
Okay. So how do you address the max lot size? Are you intending to try to purchase more? Are you going to take down 86,000 or 80 some thousand square feet of building? I mean, what are you looking at in meeting that condition?
I have not honestly.
Okay. So it seems like there's a lot of things that right now are kind of up in the air, and your plan doesn't seem to be uh, going as you expected, number one. But I think Commissioner Amick made a really good point as far as talking to your neighbors and talking to them, letting them know, actually just getting to know them a little bit, and tell them what your intentions are with that property. Now, I'm all about cleaning up property. I think I've got some I got to do myself, but I've been down in Arkansas. I've seen all these old turkey farms that are falling apart, and they are a huge eyesore. And I think that's part of the concern with the people that are here today. Um, the whole chemical smell. I don't know. I'm not there. I can't imagine a huge chemical smell from vehicles. But it's there's just things that have to get done. You cannot continue to operate, and that's where we're at right now. At least me anyway. That's where I'm at. You cannot continue to operate until you make some definite plans and make some definite progress. And like I said, talk to your neighbors, and I guess that's all I got.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I'm just going to echo the sentiments of the lady in the white in the back of the room here. I've, since I've been on this board, I've been a proponent of property rights and people's ability to do what they want with their property. And having said that, we have rules and we have regulations, we have permitting, and you've gone about this entirely backwards. You put the cart before the horse in every aspect of what's been done here. And I think had you done the things that you're now finding out that you should have done, this might be a little different scenario here. But the thrust of it is, I don't hear a plan of it's kind of a makeshift plan. It's here, it's there, it's everywhere. Uh, any kind of a permit that I think you would come back, and I'll be perfectly frank, I'm not on board with supporting this in its current form. I'm a no. I won't support this. Now, if you want to come back around with another permit, and we can talk about conditions, and we can talk about talking with your neighbors, and we can get some things in place here that basically direct this in its proper fashion, then maybe we have a discussion. But as it stands right now, I don't see anything here that I can get behind.
Thank you,
Sorry
Daryl.
about that.
Okay, so we're gonna move forward. We need a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll move and close the public hearing.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes, that's 441 absent not voting to close the public hearing. That brings us to resolution 3935, which is the conditional use permit for Prestige Auto Parts LLC to operate an auto salvage yard in the northwest quarter of Section 7, Township 10, Range 4, east of the 6 p.m. Marissa, if you could help us with findings, please.
Okay. Upon review of all necessary facts, the county commissioners make the following findings. Number one, the use in all other respects conforms to the applicable regulations of the district in which it is located.
No.
No.
I would say currently no.
No.
The use will have adequate water and sewer facilities.
Yes.
I believe it does have
I'm gonna
water
say
and
yes
sewer.
only because I don't adequately know. We know there's a well there, and I'll leave it at that.
And there's 2 homes that gotta have some
There's
kind
gotta
of
be some
septic.
septic somewhere.
The use will be in harmony with the character of the area and the most appropriate use of the land.
No.
Currently
No.
no.
Currently, no.
The establishment, maintenance, or operation of the conditional use will not be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morale, comfort, or general welfare of the county.
No.
No.
Specifically, I want to bring up the issues with the repeated calls, the domestic, the shooting, and everything else.
No.
The conditional use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purpose already permitted, nor substantially diminish and impair property values within the neighborhood.
Read that one again, please.
The conditional use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purpose already permitted, nor substantially diminish and impair property values within the neighborhood.
Okay. So you said already permitted.
Yeah, as
Yeah,
it's currently. I would
That's a
say
no.
yes. No, I would. Will not be.
Okay.
You're saying yes or no? You're saying it will be or it will not be.
It's not, I'm saying it's not, it's injurious to the people in the area
In its current.
in its current form.
Okay. No,
Yes.
Yes.
I'm also a yes.
The establishment of conditional use will not impede the normal and orderly development of surrounding property for uses permitted in the district.
No.
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 Adequate utilities, access roads, and drainage facilities have been or are being provided.
No.
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 They have been.
For the previous permit.
Yes. So I'm a yes.
That adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide ingress and egress so designed as to minimize traffic congestion in public streets.
I haven't seen anything in regards to a plan for.
Colorado or anything.
Mm-mm.
I think you did mention that you talked to
I
John, and
did,
John said there
yeah,
wasn't a need
John
for one,
said
right?
there wasn't a need
Okay.
for one.
I'm
With
not
what
sure.
with what the applicant had proposed,
Well, it
with the
sounds
2 to 4 tow trucks.
okay.
I'd be a yes.
Same. I would be a yes.
Yeah.
Megan? Yes. Okay.
The use does not include noise which is objectionable due to volume, frequency, or beat unless muffled or otherwise controlled.
Yes.
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 I'm going to say no because it sounds like there is some issue with significant truck traffic between the hours of 5 and 11 p.m.
The use does not involve any pollution of the air by fly ash, dust, vapors, or other substance which is harmful to health, animals, vegetation, or other property, or which can cause soiling, discomfort, or irritation.
Yes.
I'll go
No.
ahead.
Yeah, I also think no, because we don't really know what the plan is for drainage or runoff or any of that. So as far as the chemicals, he says that he's going to put concrete in all of them, but I don't know that that has been done. So
Can I comment on that?
yeah,
I mean, if you look at the average field and what's sprayed out there, I don't
Yep.
think this is really that big of a deal.
Okay.
That's me.
got it.
Is that one a yes or a no?
It is a no.
Okay.
It's a yes for me.
I got you. Don't worry.
The use does not involve any malodorous gas or matter which is discernible on any adjoining lot or property.
I would
I'm,
say
I'm gonna say yes.
if it were to operate in what the requested permit is for, I would say yes. But the problem is that there's been some, sounds like ongoing burning that has been going on the property. And so, I mean, I would say no.
Daryl?
No,
I don't I don't want to be in the tie. That's tough. Like to your point, based on what's been happening, I would say that based on what he's saying. I mean, I don't know if that's part of the cleanup or not, so I'm actually gonna say yes. So that's a tie.
The use does not involve any direct or reflected glare which is visible from any adjoining property or from any public street, road, or highway.
Yes.
I'd say yes.
Yes.
The use does not involve any activity substantially increasing the movement of traffic on public streets unless procedures are instituted to limit traffic hazards and congestion.
No.
I'm gonna say yes because you had already checked with the roads department and they didn't have a problem with it.
I'm a yes as well.
Same. Okay.
The use does not involve any activity substantially increasing the burden on any public utilities or facilities unless provisions are made for any necessary adjustments.
Yes.
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 So specific to this, obviously we haven't made a decision yet. Would there be any conditions that would be placed on this? Just a reminder, the planning commission said to address the lot coverage and an 8-foot fence.
They
Obviously
had
there,
fencing.
Yeah, definitely the lot coverage.
so do we want to also include those in our findings? And then also the whole like non-transferable?
Yes.
Right.
And I
Okay,
think there was some drainage concerns as well that maybe have not been addressed from the
Mhm.
previous owner. So I would say drainage plan.
I think your fencing needs to have some kind of security gates with it. He's already mentioned that, but that needs to be included as
so
well.
we could put an 8-foot secured fence. Does that work for everyone?
You're right.
The planning commission had 8-foot opaque fence.
Okay. And then addressing the lot coverage, right?
Right.
Sorry, to go back to the fence, they said around the entire property.
Do we want to put something in about drainage to Scott's point?
Yes.
Yes.
So a plan for drainage must be completed.
Yeah. And I'm still unclear. I mean, if there are vehicles that have been moved in and they're being taken apart for salvage, what's being done about the oil from the vehicles or the antifreeze? I mean, how is that being addressed? Because that will, regardless of whether it's on concrete or not, I mean, you hose it off of concrete onto the soil and then
There are companies that will come out and get used oil like um, Clean Harbors and other
sure.
other facilities. So I'm not going to get into the day-to-day business of somebody else's business. I would hope that what they're going to do is what needs to be done. So
If they follow I think in your state regulations that govern salvage yards, I think there's provisions in there about how you dispose of fluids. And that's everything from oil to AC refrigerant for that matter.
Yep.
So I mean, there's all kinds of different things that have to be done with this, and it's just a matter of complying with those regulations.
Okay. Any other conditions? All right. Marissa, can you sign this?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, we'll go back. It is resolution 3935, and we just need a motion.
I would move to deny resolution 3934 for the
Aye.
short,
3935.
I'm sorry, 3935, thank you. For the conditional use permit for Prestige Parts LLC to operate an auto salvage yard in the northwest quarter of Section 7, Township 10, Range 4, east of the 6 p.m.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. So that is 4 for, 1 absent not voting to deny resolution 3935. Mr. Vitale, there's been a lot of concerns that have been addressed today. I think if you were to address some of those, start speaking with your neighbors, come back with a plan, potentially we could hear this again. I also want to bring up the fact that you are operating a storage facility and you do not have a permit, and that will require a separate permit. So right now you're not in compliance. You're operating a business that you don't have a permit for. That's it. Thank you very much, Marissa.
Thank you.
All right. Catching up here, guys. Sorry. That one's all done. Okay, thank you so much to everybody who came in today, who testified. If you still want to have a discussion, all of us are available at any point in time. You can call us, email us, text us. You can request to meet with us. We can certainly do that. And like I said before, I would certainly suggest that you speak with your neighbors. All right, thank you. We're just going to take a brief 2-minute pause before our next timed item.
gloves.
All right. Are we ready? Yay. Come on. Okay. Ready? Okay, the time is 10:30 and we'll reconvene the meeting. We'll go to our 10 o'clock timed item, which is hearing from SCCDP about their annual report and request for 2026-2027 fiscal year funding. Good morning, Colin. Good morning, Dwayne.
Good morning, Seward County Commissioners. My name is Colin Hine with the Seward County Chamber and Development Partnership. And
I'm Dwayne Miner. I'm on the board, on the executive committee, and the current treasurer of the partnership.
so thank you to the Seward County Commissioners for their investments in the Seward County Chamber and Development Partnership and with their time on the board and for the financial support in the past. And special thanks to Misty for the continued commitment of time and dedication to the SCCDP Board of Directors. She represents Seward County very well on our board, and being our vice chair, we very much appreciate all the work she's been doing with that, and then being our incoming chair for 2027. And so we briefly want to review our public sector funding disbursement agreement with Seward County Commissioners to display our compliance. I just handed that to you. So I did pass that out. And so the funding disbursement agreement, what I handed to you is a sample or the draft for the 2027 one, but they're very similar. So the funding disbursement agreement for this past year was signed from July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. The county's annual investment was $60,100 in SCCDP for the fiscal year of 2025 to 2026. It was spent towards the operations of the SCCDP and according to the Nebraska statute. The public funds were and are segregated in a separate bank account. The funds have been used only for the purposes of economic development. There will be an internal audit conducted within 60 days of June 30th, 2026 to ensure compliance with this agreement. Proof of the audit will be emailed to you like last year. Also, we had an additional independent financial review conducted at the beginning of 2026 that will be emailed to you soon. We would like you to consider renewing your support of economic development efforts in Seward County through entering into a new funding disbursement agreement and public membership agreement with SCCDP for your upcoming fiscal year. I would like to briefly highlight some of the economic development projects that we have been working on in 2025-2026, and that was the first document I handed out to you. So just some of the brief highlights to go over. On the community development side, the Chamber was just recently re-accredited on the 3-star designation through the United States Chamber. So this is a tremendous achievement to get this re-accreditation again. Less than 200 chambers nationwide and only 5 in Nebraska have achieved this status. So this truly sets Seward County apart from many other chambers, not only in the state, but in the nation as a whole. In September of 2025, we hosted the Connecting Young Nebraskans conference, which engaged 120 young professionals from all across Nebraska into Seward County. Since July of 2022, SCCDP has sold $311,798 in community gift cards, which are purchased and then used all throughout Seward County, encouraging that shopping local. Flipping over onto the economic development side, the Village of Utica is just about to submit their application as a leadership certified community through the Nebraska Department of Economic Development. This is again a tremendous achievement to get this recertification once it happens, as it sets Utica apart from quite a few other towns and villages of its size. Seward County has continued efforts in the realm of childcare, specifically where the Chamber has been putting efforts is trying to set up the first subpool network in our state. And we're continuing to secure more spots for that. And the SCCDP was selected into the Communities for Housing program through the Nebraska Investment Finance Authority, NIFA, with the Seward County Housing Corporation, which provides grant funding for $30,000 over a 3-year period, which will help facilitate the launching of a new Seward County housing study. That housing study has expired, so it is time for a new one. And with the county, we definitely need to know where we're at, what we need to do, and this will help do that and help us continue forward. And so, going over these highlights, these developments are just some of what has taken place across the county in just a few of our recent projects. It is clear that through this document that Seward County continues to grow. I would like to point your attention to one quote from Ebony Cooksey, who is working in collaboration with SCCDP and Concordia University programs to continue developing our Seward County Digital Empowerment Center. We are proud to have efforts like the Digital Empowerment Center in Seward County to expand operations to help more people all throughout the region. And so I'll let you look at the quote from Ebony, essentially just saying that that partnership truly is a generational, transformational change and benefit to the county. And so I want to specifically highlight that quote because it does a nice job of articulating the various ways that SCCDP can and does help new businesses or organizations, including existing businesses as well, to grow in Seward County. We are fortunate to have 4 other hardworking SCCDP staff members, Jonah Grechka, Donna Hendrickson, Casey Riebel, and Heidi Blank, who are focused on supporting many other community and economic development projects. You get to hear about their work when I provide verbal, in-person, or monthly emailed written reports to you. We are fortunate in our jobs with the support of many volunteers and look forward to developing the future together in Seward County. And so I'd like to have Dwayne Miner talk briefly about his role on the board of directors, the progress he's seen in our organization, and why his business chooses to invest in membership in SCCDP.
Actually, Colin asked me to come because I'm old and I've been doing this for a long time and been involved with it for a long time. Been here 35 years and go back to when all the communities had their little business groups, business corporations, chambers. Seward had the Seward Development Corp and had the chamber. The chamber actually had an economic development committee, and I was on both. So we'd get, if somebody was looking at Seward, we'd both see it, and then we'd have our turf battles on who did what, and some turf battles between communities as well. And the partnership has really resolved a lot of those problems. We're just much more unified. It is countywide. If you look around what has happened in the different communities, we've supported it countywide. And I was skeptical. I was very very involved with the Development Corp. We had real estate that we controlled and owned. That was literally merged into this partnership as well. And so it has worked, I think, very well, better than I expected. And it's nice to have a place for the whole county when inquiries come in. It comes into the partnership and it's handled one group deals with it rather than 3 or 4 dealing with it. So, working at Cattle Bank, as far as our investment, when business does well in the county and in Seward, we do well. I mean, we're kind of a reflection of what's going on with farming and what's going on with the non-farming businesses as well. So, we do well when the county does well. So that's why we invest in it, and we certainly need the support of everybody, the private investment as well as the different civic groups, the county, the cities, the villages. It all helps pay the bills, and we all know how tight that's getting with expenses going up so fast. So anyway, that's again a lot of history that I've had, and the direction of the partnership is good. So
thank you, Dwayne. Thank you again to the Seward County Commissioners' past investment in SCCDP. For the last 2 years, Seward County Commissioners kept their annual investment the same from what you made the year before. We are asking for a 3% increase in the Seward County Commissioners this year because the cost of keeping talented professionals has gone up. We continue to offer health insurance to our full-time employees. Also, as part of the larger innovation efforts that are continuing to take place at the Seward Civic Center, we are continuing to pay $10,800 annually as reimbursement for expenses as part of our organization's space utilization in the facility. We asked the other three public sector members for a 3% increase during the last increase year, and they all agreed. Even with this funding increase request, we're still operating in a budget deficit. We understand that the commissioners did not approve our funding request and increase request last year because of budget challenges, and there are continued budget challenges this year. Continue to advocate for strategic growth initiatives in Seward County to support diversifying the local tax base, which provides more property tax dollars for all of our public sector's partners' budgets. Continued and increased investment in economic development is increased payout for the county. The return may not be instantaneous, but it is proven and will continue to be so. While it does take time to get the payout, that is still preferable to not getting the opportunity to have the payout at all. Also, we are still working on ongoing partnerships with Seward County, including leading the pre-planning commission meetings, Seward County Broadband Task Force, Seward County Visitors Bureau, and Seward County Bridges. There is a constant effort to develop, grow, and improve the county, and to do that, we need a key investment from the local municipalities. We provide monthly reports to you to update you on community and economic development projects, including the quarterly written reports. Our staff attends public meetings regularly for planning commissions, county commissioners, city council, and village trustees meetings across Seward County to advocate for our local business community's needs. I'd like to ask the commissioner specifically, is there anything else we're missing in regards to our efforts to intentionally collaborate with county-wide partners on a regular basis? This year, we're asking for your ongoing financial investment because our scope of services and ability to impact economic development in Seward County is growing in 2026. Our daily activities are based on our organization's current multi-year strategic plan, which was developed based on direct feedback from our public and private sector members. I acknowledge, understand, and empathize with starting off in a budget shortage and deficit, but the SCCDP is and will continue to be a valued partner in the present and future for laying the necessary groundwork for our county-wide success and prosperity. To continue to expand Seward County, we need an increased level of investment, which matches the commitment from our other public sector members. Our four public sector members' annual investments account for an important 30% of our budget. Therefore, we are requesting that the Seward County Commissioners consider supporting the SCCDP during our upcoming fiscal year with a $61,903 investment, just a little under $2,000. Thank you again to the Seward County Commissioners' past investment in the SCCDP. And are there any questions?
I don't have any questions. Obviously, the county's interest is in economic development, and I feel like from that perspective, at least on my time in SCCDP or on the SCCDP board, every time we've brought SCCDP a project like the task force or asking them to build a better relationship with the planning commission, they are there. They do sort of act as a catch-all for this county. So it's if there's nobody to do something, they go to SCCDP. And 9 times out of 10, I feel like SCCDP takes it on, or if they can't, they find somebody else to do it. So from an economic development standpoint, I do find value in them, and thank you for doing what you do, Colin. Any other comments?
Totally agree. It's a valued operation, and just like Colin and I had a fairly lengthy discussion, we're all at the mercy of the budget process this year. So it'll be what it'll be when it finally comes out.
We can't make a decision today because we're not in the budgeting process, but when we do go through the budget, I will let you know when we do that. We do that in towards the end of July, early August is when we'll know that for sure.
And I just want to say I appreciate, Colin, the fact that you reached out to the board prior to having this meeting so we could have a one-on-one conversation. I'm extremely transparent about where I stand on things. We had a great conversation. I sincerely appreciate the amount of work, time, and engagement that SCCDP puts into the entire county as a whole. There has been a lot of progress made, and I don't want to take away from anything that you guys have done. But we are, as you had stated, we are going to be struggling with our budget. And, obviously we can't make a decision today. but we've had this conversation. You know where I stand on this. It's not that I don't want to be able to. I mean, I would love to be able to give more, but we are really going to have to see how things play out, and we are responsible to the taxpayers of Seward County, and so it, you know, it's going to be a difficult year.
Right. Thank you
Thank you.
both. Thank you, Dwayne, for coming and visiting with us. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay, we'll go to our 10:20 timed item, which is authorizing the weed superintendent to send a report and a 10-day notice for noxious weeds. Good morning, Tim.
Morning.
Hi there.
Thank you. I will help Tim out a little bit. He did have a discussion with myself and Commissioner Picaric last week and asked us for some direction, and we did suggest that he comes to the board. So just to keep everybody in the loop, this is why he is here today. Go ahead.
Jim Coloffs, Seward County Weed Superintendent. What I'm asking for is
Tim, will you move that microphone closer to
sure.
your mouth? Thank you.
a resolution to charge for a 10 and 15-day notice for the amounts listed on this sheet.
Can you just a little bit of back history on this, just so that the rest of the board knows, because I don't think that they know what our discussion was, but this is in relation to a property that we've heard about before from one of the previous weed superintendents, and it is my understanding that that property owner has previously received notices and previously received inspection reports and everything else, correct? This is an
Correct.
ongoing
This has
issue.
been ongoing for at least 2 years.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
So what I propose is sending this individual a 10-day notice along with this sheet with all the what the fees will be, and get him to control his property. And from what I have heard from the area, he also has property in Saline County and Lancaster County, which has the same issue.
So just one question here, Tim. It sounds like there's two requests here. Like, so one, you want to send the report and the 10-day notice, but two, it sounds like you want to set the fees through this. Is that right?
That is correct.
So it's two separate things. And sadly, I don't think we can do this today because it's not on the agenda.
Okay.
But we could, because it is on the agenda, we could give you permission to do the 10-day notice if that's
okay.
But this would have to be separate because it's one, I'm guessing that Barb has not seen it just yet. And that is not your fault. I know that you're learning, so don't, that is fine. But two, this is like a completely separate item because it's not just setting it for this individual, it's setting it for the county, which we absolutely need to do. So
okay.
Did we do it?
Back when I was looking at the email, I was looking back to find previously, and I found something
like this,
like that last year.
So if we do have it, potentially you can send that.
Okay.
I know we had a discussion.
I know this. I found this in the files down at the shop. So
it's possible that it was
possible it was already discussed.
Okay.
With these dollar amounts that you've put on here?
Yes.
I think I do remember these
correct.
dollar amounts, but I don't know if we did a resolution or not. Okay. Okay, and so just a little bit of, so we gave some history on this being an ongoing issue. Will you explain what the issue is this year to the board so that we can make a decision?
Okay, so the issue is there's approximately 1,000 acres of farmland that has been let go to weeds. And on every parcel, there are acres and acres of musk thistle growing everywhere. So there needs to be control immediately.
There was some update to that too, right? That individual maybe had dealt with some of it.
He did. He dealt with the stuff you could see from the road, but I went out and investigated the property, which I am allowed to do in this position, and every part of the field is full of it. You can't really see it from the road, but it's out there.
Okay. So then just to clarify, if we were to send a 10-day notice and they were not to um, take care of this themselves, then the county would basically force control. Is that correct?
That's correct. And I propose either disking, mowing, or spraying with a follow-up spray this fall because the seeds are going to be growing again
Right.
this fall
Okay.
and next year. I mean, this is going to take several years.
Is burning an option? Because it'll move the seed to the neighbors.
It could. I don't know if we want to go down that avenue.
And if we were to spray, that's probably going to require like aerial. Drone would not handle this, right?
I don't think drone is feasible because of the size.
Okay. Okay. Any other question? Okay, so we're just talking about the 10-day notice. If there's no other discussion, we can take a motion.
I will move that we authorize the weed superintendent to send a 10-day noxious weed notice. Do we have a name
Terrence Baverka.
for Terrence Baverka?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Yes.
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 Yes, that is 4-1 absent not voting to authorize the weed superintendent to send the 10-day notice and his report to Terry Viverka. And then work with Brandy on figuring out if that resolution is already there. If it's not, bring it back around next week and we can get that approved. Okay.
But it'll need to go to Barb
Yeah.
first for review.
Okay, so
We can help you with that.
what's that?
We can help you with that. There's a form that you fill out.
Okay,
Do you have a form?
I do not.
Brandy can also help you with that too, or Barb can send it too. Yeah, we gotcha. We'll get you there.
Okay,
First time for everything.
that's right.
Okay. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll go to our 10:30 timed item, which is payment options to Accurate Controls for VMS system and security control computer upgrade for Justice Center. Just so that you guys know, we did receive a message from Tom and he's asked us to table this till next week. And I did let Lisa know.
I did talk to Tom
Okay.
just before I came up here.
Perfect. Okay.
And he was supposed to get a hold of you.
Sort
He's
of.
had a couple questions.
Okay.
So,
So are we okay to table this till next week?
well, I would like to not table this.
I don't think we can.
So I don't know what his questions are, and we haven't had a chance to hear from him. So I'm a little bit cautious to not without hearing what his concerns are. Do you happen to know what they are?
They were essentially questions about the quote that was given. He wasn't. He had some questions about the cost of the quote, and I think at some point we had already gone through this. We've already discussed these things with IT. We are on to the next stage where they are going to be coming out in August. So they're ahead of schedule. We're kind of pushing for time to put this, table this for another 2 weeks. I will not be around next week. Looks like they are looking to come out August 3rd.
So you won't be around next week, but that doesn't mean we couldn't move forward with it next week, right?
I would like to be here to discuss this contract.
Okay. I just don't know what his questions are, so I'm hesitant. It's not that I don't want to push this forward. I'm super excited to hear that they are ahead of schedule. We talked about that last week. That's awesome. I just have no information other than our IT person telling us that we should table for a week. So it's up to the board how you guys want to proceed. It doesn't matter to me one way or another. I just would like to hear what his concerns are. That's just where I'm at.
So we don't have a highlight on what his concerns are?
Nothing. He literally just said that he knew we were in
He
a
said he
meeting.
was going to actually get a hold of you.
He did.
We just spoke, and it really was just about the financial part of the bid and
The cost
associated with all the equipment. That's
I'm just wondering because typically he tries to be fiscally conservative where he can and help us where he can. So I'm wondering if he maybe is saying he could provide some of it at a different cost, but I don't know.
and that's something I don't know if we have that option at this point. We signed a contract, and the agreement has already been established with what they are doing, what they're providing.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's really a turnaround at this point.
He's been in contact with Accurate for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
So to delay this another week, 2 weeks, I think um, wouldn't be appropriate if we have already signed a contract and the equipment's already been established on their part on what
Sarah,
they're providing.
would you be okay if we were to go to the next item and then take
Yeah.
a quick break?
Yeah, we
Just
could
to
do that.
get the insight and then circle back to this? Would you be okay with
Yeah,
that?
that'd be
The board
fine.
be okay with that?
Let's do that.
Okay, sounds good. So then we're just going to go to the next agenda item, which is clarification of wage increase for current correction officers. Would you like me to lead this to start with it, and then we can go for okay. After the meeting last week, Roxy and Andrew and Sarah all had a discussion about the fact that in effort to make things simpler, we actually probably made it a little bit more complex. So the motion included that there would be an increase of $2.13 for all current correction officers plus the 2% merit. But what that does is it actually takes away from the 2% that they are supposed to be given. So let me give you an example, okay? So right now the starting wage is $23.37 and we voted to increase it to 25. So that's a $1.63 difference. And then if we were to add the 2% on that for cost of living, that would take it to $25.50. So the difference between 23.37 and 25.50 is that 213. And so what the motion said last week was we would give an adjustment to current correction officers of the 213 and then they would get the merit. Here's why it doesn't work. Because, for example, if the adjustment brought which the adjustment should be $1.63, just to clarify. If the adjustment brought a correction officer up to say $27 an hour, their 2% would be 54 cents, not 50 cents. And so the difference for them would be $2.17, and then up to the 2% merit on top of that. So I think what needs to be clarified is that there is going to be a wage adjustment of $1.63 for all existing correction officers, plus the 2% and 2%. So we're doing away with the $2.13 because that isn't what we discussed. I think there was effort to just simplify it, and it's not.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to the equation, you want to give 2% on their current pay plus the dollar.
Nope. I thought we said we would do so we would do the wage adjustment and then the 2%.
Oh, then 2% and then 2% on top of that.
That's the way that I understood it. Because when we were discussing, we had said like the 25 would be the new starting wage, and then they would get the 2%,
Okay.
which would have taken it
Okay.
to the 25.50. So 25.50 minus the 23.37 is where we got that 213. So that was the way I discussed. Did everybody follow that? That's kind of the way I was mathing it. So I don't want to even it's 4 cents, I get that, but I don't want to cut the 4 cents out of anyone, or it could be larger than that for someone else. So that wage adjustment amount is the $1.63, and then the 2 and 2. Okay.
Good.
Does that follow?
Okay, you will have to do it. You have to rescind last week's motion
Okay.
and then make a new motion. I would just do a new motion for everything
Okay. To clarify it.
to clarify even the increased starting pay.
Perfect.
So I would just rescind that, move to rescind that, vote on that, and then make a motion.
So the new motion would be to take the starting wage for correction officers to $25 per hour. And then on July 1st, it would be plus 2%. So it would be $25.50 effective July 1st.
Can you just say
$25.50?
25.50
Absolutely.
rather than
Yep.
numbers and percentages?
Yep.
That's
So $25.50 effective July 1st. And then for all existing correction officers, a wage adjustment of $1.63 plus the 2% increase plus up to 2% merit. Everybody, it looks like Reagan's on this. Scott's like,
There should be a way of simplifying this.
well, I think we tried to do that, and that's when it got wrong. And we don't want to take anything away from anyone, and that's why we have to do it this way.
So if we're going to make the new starting wage,
Yes, $25.50 effective July 1st. Yes. Yes. We're just talking about July 1st, effective July 1st, it will be $25.50. And then the $1.63 wage and the 2 and 2. I'm looking at them.
Yep, that sounds correct. Yes.
Yes.
okay, with the $1.63.
The $1.63 is the wage adjustment, so that's
Right.
the difference between the starting wage and the new wage that we voted on.
the 25, and
Right.
then we added 2% effective
Why do
July
you wanna
1st.
bring the $1.63 into it?
Because the people who like, let's say that someone is currently making 25, their new wage would be bumped, like now would be bumped up to 26.63, and then they would get 2% and 2%.
Somebody else handle it.
Okay. Go ahead.
My question is that it's becoming extremely convoluted because there are so many numbers that are being thrown into potentially one motion. So what I was asking Barb is, and I apologize, I was asking if we should separate the motions and make two separate motions.
yeah.
So one motion would be in regard to the starting wages for new corrections officers as of July 1st.
Yep.
And then a second motion then be made for existing officers with the increase.
Sure. But first, we
Because
need to
otherwise
take away
it's
the ones
too
last week.
confusing.
Okay, so first, then we need to do a motion to rescind the decision from last week. Does anyone want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion simply because I'm the one who made the motion last week. So I'll move to rescind my motion previously made last week.
Do we have a second?
Wait, hold on. You need to clarify
All
what
right.
the motion was.
The motion that allowed for pay increases at the jail for corrections officers. I don't remember the numbers. Do you want the numbers?
Okay, so we have a first. Do we have a second?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Yes.
Okay, hi.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so that's 4-1 absent not voting to rescind the increase in correction officer wages from motion from last week. Okay, so now we're going to go on to just starting wages. So you want to make that one, Reagan?
I will move that we set the starting wage for new corrections officers effective July 1st at $25.50 plus 2% for merit.
Well, starting wage wouldn't have merit though. It would just be $25.50. We wouldn't need to do the 2%. So we're doing starting wage at $25.50.
Okay.
Oh.
And yeah, the 2% is effective after 1 year.
Got it. Okay.
Can you, I'm gonna just interrupt, can you make the whole motion? That's when it gets confusing, is if there's discussion in the middle of the motion. So if you could just make the whole motion.
I will. I will move that we set the starting wage for new corrections officers beginning July 1st at $25.50 and that the merit be set for 2% after 1 year.
All right, we have a first. Do we have a second?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, so that's 4-1 absent not voting to increase starting wage to $25.50 July 1st with 2% merit after 1 year. Okay. Now we need to address the current correction officers. So do you want to make that one too?
I thought Scott was on that.
Let me throw this out there real quick before I make a motion. So it's $1.63 increase for existing correction officers plus the 2%.
And the 2%. A 2% and 2%. That's just a wage adjustment. So their $1.63 wage adjustment plus 2% increase plus 2% merit on July 1st. Yeah. Up to 2%. Right.
Okay. All right. Make a motion that we would increase the wage for existing correction officers by $1.63 at July 1st, and the 2% countywide increase and a possible 2% merit.
Is that right?
Did I get that?
I think so.
Brandy's like,
Do we have a second?
Second.
Please call the roll.
yes.
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 Yes. That's 4-1 absent not voting to approve a $1.63 wage adjustment for existing correction officers plus 2% increase plus up to 2% merit. All right. I think
July
we're all
1st.
effective July 1st. I think we're all on the same page. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, we're going to take a 5-minute recess and we'll reconvene and we'll circle back to that
Sounds
item.
good.
Okay. Hopefully he answers.
town council members.
Let me know when you're ready.
Ready? Okay, the time is 11:13 and we will reconvene the meeting. We'll go back to our 11:30 timed item, which is payment options to Accurate Controls for VMS system and security control computer upgrade for the Justice Center. Just a reminder, we asked to pause just to get some more insight from our IT contractor. You spoke with Tom.
Can you turn your microphone on?
I just had a conversation, brief as it was, with our IT contractor, and don't really have any concrete things to report other than it would be kind of the way and I'm not an IT person, but as it was explained to me, we could use Accurate software, but then we could provide all the hardware. I guess I've seen similar things like this in the past where you try to hodgepodge things together and they just don't work. And as Tom said, if you go with Accurate, you got one throat to strangle, and I would agree with him on that. But I'm just not comfortable with trying to piece things together, because we should have this conversation months ago if that's what we're going to do.
Part of my question is, thank you for, did you have more?
No, go ahead.
Was any information ever shared with Tom about what Accurate, like as far as the quote that they had given, the estimate, and then the breakdown that was given to us in the scan? I've not seen this before.
Tom was aware of us getting bids on Accurate, I believe. I can't say for certain what he has seen from what I've shown. If you guys have seen it, shown him anything on your side, I know he's in contact with Misty. We had been, and he was working directly with Accurate. He was working with them long before we were really involved in this. He is our IT individual. When it came down to it, when we looked at other places to get bids, you know, he himself had said it wouldn't be easy to have another company come in and provide a service for the cameras while we have, you know, a contract currently in place with Accurate with the doors, intercoms already. So we gotta make sure they all intertwine essentially. So that was agreed upon when we talked about reaching out to other agencies for the cameras, and so he was part of that conversation. We are much further ahead in schedule. Like I said, they are going to be out August 3rd with the equipment that's in place. They plan on being here for 20 days. They sent us the first invoice, and my conversation with Tom this morning was just essentially that with us being so close to, you know, them coming out, I want to make sure there was no hiccups on the IT side with Windows 11 or anything else for the upgrade to proceed with.
Okay, and then when we made that motion originally, I remember specifically, and we could go back and we could listen to the recording, but it was an up to amount. So I believe that we were making the motion at the time with the thought that it was going to potentially be less than what this is, and it's not. And I mean, again, it is what it is at this point. I've not seen the sheet before where they've broken down all of the costs for things, but it was an up to amount, and this is for this application for payment continuation sheet. It's up to the 300. It is the $339,300. So
this application I had forward was given to me last week, along with a schedule letter on them being what the phases are moving forward. So this came whenever, I would say the 16th or 17th of last week. It's still possible. I think we really thought that they would be 6, 7, 9 months out, and that's not the case. when I got the invoice, in discussion with them, is we still have the option to make 4 payments. Um, so I imagine the fourth payment would potentially not be the, up to the 339. I think that fourth payment really is dependent on what what is actually needed to be paid and what could be salvaged from the initial computer equipment.
I understand what you're saying. I don't see it that way because they have it, like they literally have everything split out as to what the cost is going to be. So I
So
guess I
the
can't
email,
foresee that they're going to not charge us.
it's possible, and we knew that going into the contract. Unfortunately, we can't say, none of us can say, they can't say how much it's going to be until they're finished the project. The email I'd received last week when I had gotten the foreign advisory contracting agreement back from them, they were they said in the email that they would have 3 payments of 101.79 or 790, and then the final payment of 33,930, which would be the remaining 10% after completion. So that's a lot of money to potentially could be spared at cost if we don't need that. But we knew going in the contract that we couldn't say for certain what was going to be until they got and started doing the initial switch over to the new equipment. None of that's changed.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember discussing this when we were talking about the contract, and I didn't like the fact that that number was in there, and Barb said, you just need to assume that that's what it's going to be. Because I wanted the contract to read up to. At that time, legal said, this is what it's going to be. You should just assume that you're paying this. So I just want to remind everybody of that. This was a concern that I had. You know, they're gonna, let's be honest, they're a business. They're gonna charge us for every dollar that they can. They can't say, I think what Reagan's trying to say is they can't say for certain that they're gonna have to do all the
Right.
cabling or whatever. But I mean, in thinking this through, I do remember making that comment like that, there's no up to. Could we make it say up to? And the response was, you should just assume that that's what you're paying.
It was recommended that we had this in an email, which I do have provided. And so that was a recommendation that whatever payment process we want to move forward with, they get an email, and I do have that.
I don't want to kick the can. I mean, either way, I think we're going to wind up at the 339. It's the Fram oil filter thing all over again. Pay me now, pay me later. I think that's what you're going to pay. So I'm inclined to say we have a contract. Let's move forward with what we have in front of us.
I would agree.
Am I incorrect in what I said about, like, I'm pretty sure that I had said that I would like it to be up to, and you said no, you should just assume that we're paying that amount. Because I think I had asked for that in the contract. Maybe I'm wrong and I'm not remembering.
No, I do.
I don't know that that was exactly the conversation. My comment, I believe, was if that's what it says in the contract, then I would go on the assumption that that's what you're paying. And I think that are they going to line item it as they go?
They did. They've already told us exactly what they're like. To Reagan's point, she's saying, well, how do they know until they get in there, right? And so, but Accurate's telling us, like, video management and reporting, it's going to be 109,331. They're telling us exactly how much each thing is going to be to add up to the 339,300.
Have they been in yet at all?
They come August 3rd, and they'll be here 20 days.
So I don't know whether those items will change, but I believe that my comment was, if that's the number they have, you can go on the assumption that that's probably what you're going to pay. It could be less if they line item it, but I don't think making a motion or whether it says up to or not is gonna.
My comment then was that I would like that to be in the contract, but like what you just said was no, because this is what you should expect to pay. And going back to my other comment, they're a business, like they're gonna.
I just am saying, I don't think that my comment was what should or should not be in the contract. I think my comment was, if that's what's in the contract, then I don't know that a business is gonna say
Sort of,
up to.
yeah.
So,
That's what I recall as well, is that, I mean, and it's just semantics at this point, but I do believe that that's how the comments were made, and that they likely were not going to change the contract to say up to. It was going to be like, they have submitted the contract. This is the dollar amount you should expect to pay, the $339,000. So that's my recollection as well. The item that's on the agenda is the
Where we came from.
Payment options to Accurate Controls. So, I mean, I'm not really seeing that there's payment options. I see that they have a suggestion. This is my fault. I will own this. We were trying to figure out what to name it, and so we were basically, Sarah had asked me, do I submit this to inheritance, or how are we going to pay it? And I said, well, we haven't really decided that so much. So that's why I asked for this to be put on the agenda, because we have not made a motion to take this out of inheritance and or put this to the next budget year. We have not discussed that. So she came to me saying, I have this invoice. It needs to be paid, by whatever due date, the end of the year. And she asked me where/how. Well, we need to figure out if we're paying for it out of inheritance or if we're going to take an exception. So that is why I asked for this to be put on the agenda.
I'm trying to find, where does it actually say the due date is on the first payment?
It just says period 2.
Yeah, I mean, if we're moving up to August 3rd for them to begin the project and be done by August 20th, I know we had to be done with the final payment before then, so we really have less than 8 weeks.
So we could work this into the budget.
If we
instead
could,
of-
I would recommend, the contract was very vague on how we could make the payment.
I did have questions on the payments, and I have the email that Accurate sent you, that you forwarded to me. It's 3 separate payments of 30%, 10% retained until the project has been completed,
Well, then that's not
and not more than 35 days after the entire work has been delivered and accepted. So I think there are 3 payments.
Yeah,
Your
the email
emails-
they just sent me for, was the one I got last week was, I emailed them on a 3 payment plan with the to Accurate, and they said it should be 4 payment plans, 3 payments of 101,790, which would be 30%, 3 times, and the final payment, the 4th payment, would be the last 10%, which would be $33,930.
His email said, as we spoke on the phone, we have some wiggle room on this depending on when the project will be taking place during the fiscal year.
Yeah.
So can you go back to did I hear you said 10% retainer and then 3 payments? Okay.
10% retained.
Retained. Got it.
That was in the original.
Got it. So the payment that would be due now is $101,790.
Yes.
But what's now? Is it,
Well, it's
there's no due date on
the
it.
next budget year anyway.
Is
No,
there no pay by?
I mean,
They sent her an
I'd want to
invoice.
submit this the next time we do claims, so
Okay.
we can get the next invoice, right? We want to
Still
kind
go
of keep.
to next year.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
We'll talk about next year.
Either way, it'd be on 1 calendar year. Yeah.
The hard thing is that, okay, here's the challenge that I see. I'm not trying to drag this on, but here's the problem. We don't set our budget until September. Okay. So we have July when we're going to start doing budget hearings. We'll be done with protest hearings. August, we'll have our valuation. Then we'll need, hopefully. So I think we need to determine now where we're going to pay this out of, but it's going to be difficult to say, are we going to take this as an exception? Because if we take it as an exception, then you start with less next year. And we're already starting with less than what we were supposed to be starting with this year.
I'm just going to say that invoice does have net 30 terms.
So then it needs to be paid
So
immediately.
So question then, because of what you just said, could we, I mean, let's just be honest, we haven't said it. We don't, we don't, even if we were to take it as an exception, we wouldn't really know that it's the right thing to do until we get further down the line. So could we pay this potentially out of inheritance and then I don't know when they're expecting their payments, but we wouldn't be able to decide on the next one until we knew more with the budget.
I don't think that we're going to be able to do that though, because if they're starting work in August,
August
they're
3rd.
going to continue to send invoices until the project is completed.
Mhm.
So if they're going to be here for 20 days, you can anticipate that their project is going to be completed in 20 days. Give it 30.
Well, but they're coming in August, right?
Yes, they're coming August 3rd, and they're hoping to be out by August 28th.
Okay, but question then, if they're not coming until August 3rd and they send us another invoice and it's not for any work that they've done, we can't, technically we can't pay it.
That's what the contract says, so, I mean,
They shouldn't
that's
be-
in a lot of contracts and the board is typically not.
Yeah.
I'm just going to back. I don't know if this works for taking the exception, but there have been times when we have paid things out of inheritance and then paid inheritance back. I don't know if that would count as an exception if you're not. If you're,
I think it would have to be on the budget as an exception, and then there'd be no transfer back to inheritance.
Let's just look at where we're at here. We know we're going to have budget constraints. We know that we're already kind of behind the eight ball in a couple of areas. The cleanest way to do this, in my view, is to just pay it out of inheritance and be done with it. To me, an exception is something that we're going to live with next year, and we don't know that our next year's budget is going to be any better than this year. So to my way of thinking, the clean way to handle this is just pay it out of inheritance and be finished with it.
I think the last time we asked about inheritance, it was right under 6. So I just asked her to ask Jake really quick. Regardless of anything, we have to pay it. But I think it's does it make sense to do the exception or not? And the fact that we just don't know. I'm hesitant. If it is right where it's supposed to be, then I would say I would be in favor of just paying it out of inheritance.
Do you mean the first payment or?
I just say
Personally, I think
pay the whole thing. That's my view. Pay the whole thing out of inheritance.
I think the first payment, because here's the thing, we're also every year as we're trying our best to build a reserve, right? Which let's just be honest, but we had the reserve just, I mean, like that just wiped out all the work that we did in the reserve.
For 2 years.
Yeah.
2 years of work. It's just boom, there it goes. It's gone. So we're gonna have to transfer anyway. So it's not like we're just taking 4, we're taking additional dollars because we're gonna have to make that transfer for the reserve anyways. So it's not like we're just, okay, well, it's just 4. It's
So can we pay the first payment out of inheritance and budget for the second two?
You wouldn't even have your budget when the second payment comes due, though.
we could have an idea.
If we're, when we get
Okay. Yeah.
September,
That makes sense to me.
when our budget gets finalized.
Um,
So technically, if they're out of there the end of August, they got a 30-day cycle. So we should be able to pick that up in the regular budget, should we?
if it doesn't with everything else and the health insurance and the wages and everything else, like if we can, but we can't necessarily.
We don't know that we can. That's the problem. Because
Without
again,
the
it depends on what the valuations come in at and what those, I mean, salary increases, health insurance, NERMA, all of it, all of those increases.
So it's at 6.4 right now, which is up from last year. So potentially this would just put us where we were last year with knowing we would have to make the additional transfer. So with that being said, I guess I would be in favor of using inheritance. I don't know what else we do.
I already said my piece. Use the inheritance for all of it.
It's at 64378. We can't use it forever. That's the problem.
No.
And these things keep coming up. This is not. Oh my gosh, this is not your guys' fault in any way. But it's. And we've had budget discussions. It stinks. And the thing is we won't always have these things. That's why it's important to do that reserve. And the county's just in a pickle this year with all of our work being erased. So.
Colin, too, like, have you had any conversations with Accurate about when a future upgrade is going to have to be done? Like, I think it's important to know now, Sarah. I know you've had your hands full with a lot of different things, but I think it's important for you, for your department, for your budget, to determine what this is going to look like in the future when, right, there's going to be a significant anticipated upgrade that's needed because that needs to be budgeted for.
I think when we had discussed this a few months ago was safe keeps would start going back to the jail budget. So my hope is we start taking safe keeps and make some revenue off that, and
So we're
we
putting
have
that
some
into a
profit at some
separate line.
point. Yeah, we did discuss that. Yep.
Like a grant fund or something like that, yeah.
hmm So I think when for future expenses, you know, my hope is we're more prepared, I guess, in 10 years. This last equipment lasted 10 years. Being in there 10 years would be great.
We asked that question, and I
Yeah.
remember them saying like 8 to 12, depending on what it is. Like
Yeah.
cabling could be 12, computer could be 8, the cameras
Yeah.
could be 10. It was kind of all over the place, seemed like.
We are getting the best equipment that's provided from them, and you know, I think the equipment that we had received in 2016 was already old. I mean, it was a little older then at that point as well, because that's just what was budgeted or prepared for when the new construction was in place. We are getting, I think, upgraded equipment. I would hope will last longer than, you know, 8 to 10 years.
Okay. So where are you at, Scott? What would you like to do for paying this?
Let's just take it out of inheritance.
Inheritance.
You can't even, it's hard to answer, I know.
It doesn't matter because you have 3, so.
Okay. Okay, so then we just need a motion to clarify the payment, where the payment's gonna come out of for.
I'll move that we take the payment for the Accurate Controls VMS system at the Corrections Center from inheritance funds in the amount of, I think it's 339,000, correct?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Yes.
Yes.
No. And I just want to preface this by it has nothing to do with you guys. It has to do with the fact that I think we had an opportunity that we could have potentially budgeted for this out of general funds budget. And so, and I understand where the rest of you are coming from, but at the same time, like, I just think that we could have budgeted for this.
I hate to, I can't ask a question in the middle of this. Okay, I'm gonna say no because I want to ask a question, so that means we might need a different motion. My question is, can we get clarification of when those payment dates would be due? So I would still be in favor of paying at least this payment, getting this off the ground from inheritance. But to her point, there could be the opportunity to pay for the rest of this with an exception. I'm just looking for a practical date as to when that might happen. End of August, we at least have an idea of what the budget would like. We're going to know at least what the budget is going to look like and if the exception makes sense or not. So that's
Or
why
if it's even included within your budget. Does that make sense?
well, I don't think we would put it in her budget, but in the budget.
Or
IT
buildings and
budget.
grounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't matter, but in the budget itself.
It's hard. There's no right answer. There's just not. But I think it buys us some time to just look to see if it could go within the budget, but we have to talk about the payment today. So I'm just going to throw back out there, like maybe we could pay today's what's due now out of inheritance and then look at the rest of it for the budget, not your budget, moving forward. So would you be in favor of that?
Yes.
I've got a motion here and we've taken a vote.
I know. I haven't said no to the other yet. I know. So that's 2 for, 2 against, 1 absent not voting for using inheritance for the whole thing. So now, do we have another idea here? Any thoughts with that? That gets us at least the payment today. using inheritance.
All right. I make a motion that we use inheritance payments of dollar amount of $101,790 as the first payment to Accurate Controls for the VMS system and security control computer upgrade for the Justice Center.
Okay, we have a first, we have a
Sound
second.
right?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Herrick,
Yes.
Hine,
Yes.
Rocky,
No.
Yes. All right, that's 3 for, 1 against, 1 absent, not voting to pay the first payment out of inheritance. For the rest of it, it could still be that we're going to use inheritance. Maybe we could get a better idea of when those payments will come through, and then it would be budgeted in the IT line. It wouldn't come
Well,
out.
I mean, we did discuss these payments all have to be done before they're finished,
Yeah.
right? So you were looking at 3 bills before, or 3 invoices.
By the
Actually,
end of
just 2
August.
more additional invoices before August 28th.
Yep.
So wouldn't it be safe to say if we got this one in the middle of June, we're going to get another one in the middle of July, the other one in the middle of August? I mean, if that's what
Yeah,
you're
and
invoicing us.
my hope is that we'll have at least an idea of like totals based on all of the submissions by the middle of July. Like we as a board will have seen those. We might not have had the hearings, but we'll know like if it even makes sense to do the exception or not. If not, when that next one comes, we'll come right back and we'll just say, okay, we're going to pay it out of inheritance.
So you need me to get clarification on the due dates for the next 2 to 3 invoices.
Yeah. Either way, though, even if it is exactly what you said,
Mhm.
I think by then, by the end of July, we will know what that budget is going to look,
Okay.
what those numbers are going to look like.
Okay.
So,
They could push it back.
but it is not in your budget. This is not, this does not lay on your shoulders. I want to be very clear. So but when that comes back again, we'll just have to do this all over again.
Okay.
Okay. Sound good?
Yep.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so we're going to go to 1050 timed item, which is wage increases for hard to fill positions in the roads department. Morning. Morning.
Morning.
Ish.
Yeah, for not much longer. So I had a meeting with Roxanne down in HR. She did all the legwork on getting wages from surrounding counties within the Southeast District, which I emailed out to the board. I was quite shocked at how many are actually union, because I didn't know that. But down in that, on the bottom portion of that table is $23 an hour, and that's what I am requesting to move our new starting wage to for 2 of our positions within our department that we are having trouble filling because of wages.
John, what's the current today? Not 27. What's the current starting today?
Current today is $21.15.
Thank you. Okay.
And that's for both of the positions.
Yes.
2115.
Yes.
So if we were to move the starting wage to 23,
which would be $1.85.
Thank you. The difference would be $1.85. So similarly, we're being consistent here. Similarly to what we've done for another department, the adjustment, we would have an adjustment, and then we would need to discuss, you know, the 2%. I'm a fan of just doing things consistently. We've received the data. This is sort of the middle. It is a little, you've requested a little bit less than the midpoint. I would like to see us increase the starting wage, but of course then we would need to make the wage adjustment and we would need to do the 2 and 2. It would be consistent with the other hard to fill position. The data shows that it is not the same pay wise, right? So we're sticking to the data. Obviously the other department shows different data. So discussion, question, other suggestions?
So the 23, similar to what we have done. So we would add in the 2%. So starting July 1st, it would be the 23 plus the 2% at 1 year, yeah. No. Be the increase plus 2%. The recommended increase.
So how we did it for the other department was we gave the round number of 25, and then that we increased the starting wage to that. But then at July 1st, it would be 25.50 because we increased whatever. So is that what you're saying? Probably, I just
That is
wasn't
what I'm
following.
saying.
Okay.
So it would be not 23, it would be 23 plus the 2% effective July 1st, and then an additional 2% for merit.
Yes, for the starting. But if we were to be consistent, what am I trying to say? The wage adjustment, to be consistent and do it exactly like we did for the other department, you would take the difference between the 23 and the 21.15.
Right, but that would be the $1.85. That would be for current.
Yeah.
So they would have a wage adjustment starting July 1st of the $1.85.
Yes.
Plus the 2% and up
Plus
to
the merit.
2% merit.
Correct. That's the way that we did it for the other one.
Okay, so the 23 does not include the 2%.
No.
If you include the 2%, it comes out to 23.46,
Yeah.
Starting July 1st.
starting July 1st.
Yes.
And then at 1 year for the new hire,
The
it'd be
same
up,
thing with the 2%.
yep, up to 2%.
Okay, so I want to be clear about the data here because you are missing a couple counties. So we removed Seward from the data, which is what we did before, but we don't show Richardson. We don't show Douglas, which we didn't utilize Douglas before, and we don't show Cass. We did in the other data include some counties that were outside. So we included York here. We included a couple for the other as well. So Jefferson, Johnson, Lancaster is in there. I'm actually really surprised that Saline makes more than Lancaster. That's interesting. Sarpy is
I want to
Sarpy.
say like 2 or 3 years ago, they got a massive jump, like almost 10%, I think.
You're gonna have to come and tell us how. Sorry, Roxy. They have different.
Last week, you talked and. Sorry.
Lancaster has many different levels. So equipment operator 1, 2,
Yeah,
3,
right.
senior. So at the very
And that would be like
Very
based on
beginning.
experience, basically, right? So we would do the same thing here we have with the 6%. It's different levels. Okay.
yeah. So I just took the very smallest amount, which is the beginning.
Right.
Yeah. And then when I spoke with Celine, yeah, I was really surprised at that wage.
But it's starting plus up to 6% when we're doing that, correct? Like we're not. Okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So starting wage would be 23.46,
Correct.
Effective July 1st.
effective July 1st, and then 2% merit after a year.
Yeah, up to 2%. Yep.
Up to 2%. And then the increase for existing employees would be $1.85 July 1st, plus up to 2%.
Plus 2 and 2. That's the same way we did before.
Okay.
Discussion?
Can you reread the motion from the previous department for the second motion?
Thank you.
I think we have the first one down. I'm not so sure about the second. Because again, I think that it should be done in two separate motions.
So the last one.
About the adjustment.
So the last one you did was increase the wage for existing correction officers by $1.63 starting July 1st, and a 2% countywide increase, and a possible 2% there. That was the last one, and then the one before that was
25.50.
set the wage for new correction officers beginning July 1st at $25.50, and that the merit be set for 2% after 1 year.
Okay. So then we need a motion for just addressing the starting wage first, please.
I've got that one, Scott, if you want to do the next one. Okay. I would move that we set the starting wage for motor grader operators and heavy equipment operators at $23.46 per hour, effective July 1st, with a possible 2% merit available after 1 year.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Hein,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Siraki,
Yes.
Yes. It's 4-4, 1 absent not voting to approve the increase of the starting wage for motor grader operator and heavy duty equipment operators to $23.46 effective July 1st with the up to 2% merit. 23.46.
She's
23.
3.
Yeah.
Merit. I don't know if you added 2%.
What do you mean? Did I? I had
23,
23.46.
2346 has a 2.
Right. What does the merit or the motion say?
I said 23.46
Okay.
because
Yeah.
that
Yeah, you
already
did.
includes
Okay.
the 2%.
I'm really confused there. guys.
I'm being consistent with what we did the last time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did say 2346.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So we're good. Okay. So then the next motion. Somebody want to make that?
Next motion would be move to increase the hard to fill roads positions $1.85 beginning July 1st for existing employees plus 2% countywide increase up to a 2% merit. Sound correct?
And up to.
We should probably clarify which position.
What did I mess up?
We need to clarify which positions. So maybe just
Well,
say instead
that's-
you said hard to fill.
That's what I've got on here. So what are the positions? Let me
Motor
see.
grader and heavy equipment.
It happens.
Okay.
Okay, so, and I have it right for the record. Bart, since he made a motion, but stop, what do we do?
If you wanted everything to be really clear, just make it over again.
Yeah, I would just redo the motion.
Okay.
Try to fix this probably.
Ah.
And just do it again.
Okay. All right. I make a motion that we increase the motor grader and heavy equipment operators current employees $1.63 an hour.
$1.85.
Oh, I'm sorry, $1.85. Gosh, I've got two different things written here, so good excuse. $1.85 beginning July 1st, plus the 2% countywide increase and a possible 2% merit.
Can you read that back?
You'll get it.
Moved to increase motor grader and heavy equipment operators current employees $1.85 per hour beginning July 1st plus 2% countywide increase and possible 2% merit.
Should work.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Please call the roll. Eric,
Yes.
Hein,
Yes.
Rocky,
Yes.
Yes. That's 4-4, 1 absent not voting to do a wage adjustment of $1.85 for existing heavy duty equipment operators and motor grader operators July 1st plus a 2% increase and up to 2% merit. Okay. Thank you guys. Go back to our untimed items. Number 7 is the foreign national vetting process form for the 2025 EPMG grant approval. Yep, and I can get Megan over here while we're doing that.
Do we need to what? Wait for Barb? Or no? That's fine.
We'll be okay. Ready? Okay, so we'll reconvene, we'll go back to that item number 7, which is foreign national vetting process form for the 2025 EPMG grant approval. Walk us through this.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Kind of. You almost have to swallow that thing, Megan.
So we got a new policy from FEMA. They implemented a new policy and process for the foreign national vetting on the FEMA non-disaster grant programs. So this is the EMPG, the Emergency Management Preparedness Grant, which would have covered Gary's salary. We would get reimbursed half of his salary for this grant. So in order, they still owe us from July to December of last year.
Right.
So in order for us to be reimbursed for that, we have to sign this new form, this new policy form.
Got it. And do we know if Barb saw this at all?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay. I think I did forward it to her last week so she could see it. Let's see what she says. Any questions about this?
It's pretty
It's
straightforward.
pretty straightforward, just like she said.
These little empty boxes, are they just things that you check, or how do we?
They're drop down. It's an online form option. So it's drop down. It's yes or no or
So we're basically authorizing you to complete this form on our behalf, right? Because you'd have to go online and do that.
It says it needs to be completed by authorized representative for your county, such as your county board chair or elected county official.
Okay.
I cannot fill it out.
So you would send me this to
Yes.
fill out. Okay, got
Yes.
it. Okay, so you'll just need to send me the link. Barbie, you had a chance to look at the vetting form. We forwarded it to you last week.
Oh, you did? I mean, I looked at the agenda.
It's an online form that we have to we have to fill it out and then do the drop down or whatever for FEMA for the reimbursement of the EPMG for last year for Gary's salary. So that we don't actually sign that, we have to go online and do it.
Oh, well. I don't know if this is something we need to, yeah, it's,
Okay,
it's just an employment verification.
so then we just need to authorize that I can go online and complete this. Okay, sounds good. Somebody want to make a motion?
I will move that we authorize the chair to sign the foreign national vetting process form for 2025 EMPG grant approval.
Second.
All right, will you please call the roll?
Hein,
Yes.
Carrot,
Yes.
Rocky,
Yes.
Wonderly.
Yes. All right, so that's 4-4, 1 absent not voting to approve me logging on and completing this form for the 2025 EPMG grant. Thank you.
Okay, and just, it has to be done by the 26th.
So just, will you re-forward me the email that you sent me? I think that had a link in it. Okay, thank you very
Yep.
much. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I don't think anything. I think so. All right, so item number 8 is the subaward agreement between City of Lincoln and Seward County for aging services.
So typically Allison would come to share this. This is the subaward that we fill out every year for the City of Lincoln, between the City of Lincoln and Seward County. Information is presented within the document. I reviewed it. I didn't really see a significant change other than the contractual insurance determination for it. Is that, I believe that's new.
I'm sorry, say that again.
The contractual insurance determination form, I don't remember seeing that in the past. That was included in the scan.
And you read through all of it, right, Barb? It is. Okay. All right. Do you have any questions?
No, then the only thing is that with this, I believe Brandy is actually the one who signs it
It's both
for
of us.
the, oh, it is, your name's
Yeah.
on there too. Okay.
Yep. We got it.
No, just send it back to them. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I will move that Seward County signs the agreement between the City of Lincoln and Seward County for aging services.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Klein,
Yes.
Zabrowski,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Yes, that is 441 absent not voting to sign the subboard agreement between the City of Lincoln and Seward County for aging services. All right, our next untimed item is resolution 3936 to reappropriate funds for departments that have gone over budget. I will let Brandy just give us an explanation of what this means, and then I can read the resolution.
So there's the four that are on the resolution are all within the general fund budget, the four departments that went over. One of them is elections. And I think that the reason for that is we had two special elections come out of this fiscal year's budget. And the primary election, minimum wage went up to $15, paying everybody mileage and minimum wage. And the special election for Centennial from last June was paid out of this fiscal year's budget, and that was, we had to have mileage back for work and all kinds of stuff. So that went over like $800, I think. Public defender went over because of court-appointed attorney fees, which I think I'll expect.
Remember, we moved those into the
Those were moved from the Plains General to the public defender budget, so that one went over. Highway superintendent went over $135, and I think you talked to Heidi, or you were talking to her the other day, but I don't know why that.
She didn't understand why either.
Yeah, and maybe once we get deeper into the budget stuff, we might find a reason why that happened, but probably by that time this fiscal year will be closed out anyway. The last one is building and grounds, and I think the reason probably is because the NERMA bill went up significantly for insurance, and he did not budget enough to cover that difference. So all of these funds are within, or all of these budgets are within the general fund. So basically what this resolution does is transfer money from our surplus and miscellaneous general to bring all of those up to zero, so that we're not in the negative for next year.
Okay, any questions?
Which was
$135. And it was the highway superintendent,
Yeah.
not the road fund.
So it likely would have been like probably FICA or something along those lines with insurance.
Something that's a big button, probably, I don't know, I know that.
I thought that's what you said was
I have
$135.
$135.
I'm mulling it around going, $135,000?
Oh, no, it's
Yeah,
$135.
okay, all right, thank you.
Okay. So we'll read resolution 3936, whereas the budget of Seward County Public Defender was set at $405,000 for the 2026 fiscal year, and whereas the budget of the Seward County elections was set at $114,610 for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, and whereas the budget of Seward County Buildings and Grounds was set at $596,797 for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, and whereas the budget of the Seward County Highway Superintendent was set at $148,477 for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, and whereas necessary expenditures of said offices are going to result in the expending over that amount, and whereas an emergency exists requiring that said budget be expanded as provided by law, and whereas said additional funds need to be applied to said budget must be appropriated from a general fund budget of Seward County, Nebraska. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the budget of the Seward County Public Defender is increased in the amount of $63,000 for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, resulting in an amended budget of $468,000. And now, therefore, it be resolved that the budget of the Seward County Elections is increased in the amount of $888 for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, resulting in an amended budget of $115,498. And now, therefore, it be resolved that the budget of the Seward County Building and Grounds is increased in the amount of $19,739 for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, resulting in an amended budget of $616,536. And now therefore it be resolved that the budget of the Seward County Highway Superintendent is increased in the amount of $136 for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, resulting in an amended budget of $148,613. And furthermore, be it resolved that the sum of $63,000, which has been added to the budget of the Seward County Public Defender, and $888, which has been added to the budget of the Seward County Elections, and $19,739, which has been added to the budget of Seward County Buildings and Grounds, and $136, which has been added to the budget of the Seward County Highway Superintendent for the 2025-2026 fiscal year shall be appropriated from the miscellaneous general budget. And it would be dated today. We would need to take a vote on resolution 3936 if we have a motion.
I will move that we approve resolution 3936 as read into the record by the board chair.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Zagorowski,
Yes.
Herrick,
Yes.
Hine,
Yes.
Yes, that is 4-4, one absent not voting to approve resolution 3936. Okay, while we're passing that around, we'll go to our next untimed item, which is a request from GBE to answer their annual fraud inquiry. So I was sent this email. I think Brandy was also sent this email where we have to answer some questions, and it's just yes or no questions. I asked Barb about it, and Barb suggested just bring it to the board to answer the questions, and then basically I'll reply to the email and send it back to them. So just what the email says is, as part of our audit of the county's financial statements, auditing standards require us to make certain inquiries of those charged with governance. We would appreciate your response to the following questions based on your knowledge during the fiscal year. A simple yes or no response is sufficient. If you answer yes to any of the questions, provide a brief explanation and any relative details. So whatever, but okay. So the first question, are you aware of any actual suspected or alleged fraud affecting the county? No?
No.
Okay, thank you. Next question, are you aware of any significant weaknesses or concerns regarding the county's internal controls designed to prevent or detect fraud? No.
No.
Okay. Are you aware of any instances where county employees, officials, or management failed to comply with the county's code of conduct, ethics, policies, or expected business practices?
I'd have to say yes to that one.
Okay, so let me reread it. Are you aware of any instances where county employees, officials, or management failed to comply with the county's code of conduct, ethics, policy, or expected business practices? And to his point, he said we might have to say yes.
I agree with that.
Okay, and we would have to give us a short explanation. Any suggestions?
Multiple policy violations committed by the public standard director.
Okay, so multiple policy violations committed by the public transit director. Anything else?
Oh, short and sweet.
Very good.
Do you include the sheriff's office?
It's subjective to the board's decision, so.
I
mean,
can't
we
think of-
were audited and spent funds that were not allowed. So it says, county employees, officials, or management failed to comply with the county's code of conduct, ethics, policy, or expected business practices.
I think that would fall under business practice.
Yeah.
Payment for items that had not been received. One.
So can we say multiple policy violations completed or committed by the public transit director and with everything's your
I can add that too.
I think so.
okay. You want to add something? Daryl?
So I thought that was last year, so.
I don't remember what it was actually, but I think it was in this.
I can't remember when the scrap thing at the highway department, was that last year? I mean, it was adjudicated this year, I know that.
I think that it was found in.
Yeah, I think it was last year that we found it, it was adjudicated this year.
Anything else? Great. Okay. Next question. Are you aware of any actual or suspended violations of law, regulations, grant requirements, contracts, or other legal obligations by the county? You read that again.
Yeah.
Are you aware of any actual or suspected violations of laws, regulations, grant requirements, contracts, or other legal obligations by the county?
Nothing comes to mind.
Are you aware of any actual or suspected violations of laws, regulations, grant requirements, contracts, or other legal obligations by the county?
I don't know how to answer that either because what is that?
Maybe that's more the one above. Okay. So we're just gonna say no.
Yeah.
If the county uses third-party service providers, are you aware of any fraud, noncompliance, significant deficiencies, or uncorrected errors involving those providers?
No.
Are you aware of any significant unusual transactions entered into by the county during the year that may warrant additional consideration by the auditors?
No.
Okay. To your knowledge, did any significant unusual transactions involve county officials, employees, family members, affiliated organizations, or other related parties?
No.
No. Are there any matters related to fraud, ethics, compliance, internal controls, or financial reporting that you believe should be brought to our attention?
No.
No.
Okay, that's it. All right, so I will reply. CC Brandy.
So when you answer the question, I'm just asking, but I don't have to do this. When you do the findings of fact, we put that in the minutes.
I think we would probably just do the same thing, wouldn't I? Just
do the same thing for this and put the questions we answered in the minute, or can I just say that you completed the annual fraud?
you could just say that you completed the
Okay.
I'll CC you on my response though. Okay. Yep. Okay. So we will go to our next untimed item, which is a moratorium on data centers in Seward County. Last week we had I brought this forward and we had the discussion that we would like to take a pause on any new applications for data centers as the county gets an opportunity to explore what is best for our residents, our property owners, and as we're moving forward for passing new regulations. There are regulations that were proposed in that current draft, but they are very small. They're very slim and they are not very specific. And I don't think that they do justice for Seward County. So with that being said, the board voted and we asked the county attorney to draft a moratorium. I worked with her last week on providing copies of other county moratoriums, providing definitions, providing other information that she requested. And she and I think have a difference of understanding of what our intention was. So her, and correct me if I'm wrong, Barb, her understanding was that we only wanted to pause applications on like large AI data centers. I think we do want to do that, but my understanding was that we wanted to look at all data centers. You had a really good point where she was saying, if we're not specific, it could like a closet in a like what we have here could technically be considered a data center. So there is a definition that I was able to find from Marvin, and it's actually in our proposed regulation that I think excludes some of that, but she needs specific direction on what it is that we're looking to pause. So if the board could just say what it was that you intended, I think that would be helpful, and then we'll bring it back around hopefully next week. Is that helpful, Barb?
There are a number of policy decisions that the board needs to make before I can draft a moratorium. One of them being what facilities it is that you want to regulate. I have concerns about the Marvin definition, not with regard to zoning, but with regard to a moratorium. I think it's broad and it doesn't necessarily exclude some of the things that we discussed.
I can read that just so that everybody can know specifically what that says. It says a data center shall mean an establishment primarily involved in compiling, storage, and maintenance of documents, records, and other types of information in digital form, utilizing mainframe computers and storage devices. This term does not include general business offices, computer-related sales establishments, or business and personal services. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. The definition definitely singled out those situations, but Barb is wanting us to list very specific types of data centers. I will tell you that I don't fully understand all of them. So for me, I like this definition because it is broad enough to say we want to look at all of them without putting a burden on businesses and their data storage. But that's just where I'm coming from.
So could it be where your primary income is coming from storing data, which would alleviate some uh, businesses, home applications, things like that, which the regulation or the proposed regulation pointed out. But
She's wanting very specifics. She's wanting, I think, Barb, us to say AI data centers, this type of data center, this type of data center, this type of data center. But I don't think that we know that just yet.
No, I don't.
Okay.
Criteria. I would like criteria.
Okay, so
So
help us through this,
for,
please.
Sure. For example, that's a good criteria. So the sole or the main, the purpose, whatever, however it would sound, income being from that. One thing that jumps out at me, and I haven't thought it through, is that the definition only refers to mainframe computers and storage devices. Doesn't include the cloud.
True.
So it's just some more. It doesn't need to list what specifically they are, because then you still run into the same thing. You need definitions, but I just need criteria so that the moratorium would identify exactly what it is that you're regulating. And there's some other policy decisions that the board also needs to make. First, what is the problem that the board is trying to solve?
I felt like I responded to that.
Okay, if I could, let me just get this so the rest of the board knows exactly what policy decisions it is I'm looking for. How will the facilities, you can just say commercial data centers, you can say something like that, but how will they be identified? Things like that would work. Are there any exceptions that you want to put in there? What activities are prohibited? Constructing, permits, any approval, anything like that. How long the moratorium is going to last? What is supposed to happen during the moratorium? What is the purpose of the moratorium? Anybody evaluating that moratorium is going to say, okay, why was this necessary? What was the purpose of pausing that? And then kind of what is potentially the desired outcome. Essentially getting at the purpose, the scope, and the objective. So that it's a document that lays everything out and establishes, hey, here's what we're looking at, here's why we're looking at it, here's what we want to regulate, and here's kind of what we're looking at potentially doing at the end of it.
So she requested that information. I've provided 2 definitions, and I'll read you what I suggested for potential harm avoided. I said the county currently lacks zoning definitions, performance standards, and review criteria specific to data centers. Such facilities may have significant impact upon electrical infrastructure, groundwater resources, transportation systems, agricultural land uses, public health, safety, and welfare. For the purpose, I suggested a temporary moratorium is necessary to allow the county sufficient time to study such impacts, receive public input, and develop appropriate regulations to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Seward County residents. This allows us to update the regulations prior to applications being accepted. And then for the length, I suggested we do 6 months, which is what Barb has suggested in the past. And that if we needed more time, we can come back and request a new moratorium at that time
you know, if because we don't have any idea how long this will take us, but hopefully we can be cognizant of time and get through this in 6 months. If not, we could renew like we have the other ones. So that is what I had shared. The definition, obviously, she wanted some more criteria. But these were just based on the conversation that we had. So, are you saying that you need additional responses to those?
Not. Hold on, look at it would be helpful to, if you had any more specifics on when you say study or whatever that is, kind of what does that mean? What are you going to do with that? How are you going to do that?
I said time to study such impacts like receiving public input and develop appropriate land regulations to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Seward County residents. So we would get input from the public, obviously. Well, we could probably add look to other counties to see what their regulations are and maybe look at some of the state what am I trying to say? Standards or their performance standards as well. So I think that could maybe clarify that.
Okay.
Anybody else?
So you said other counties in one state?
In state. I like if there were performance standards from the state. Okay. No.
No.
I think what he said was helping answer the question about
First part.
criteria for the definition, right? What Scott said.
Yes. Is there anything else that you want in there?
Can you repeat what you said?
Probably not. No, I'll give it
No,
a
I
shot.
I generally know. You talked about the primary source
Yeah,
of income being.
right. I think it would
Yeah.
eliminate businesses that have their own storage
And I,
and cloud and
yeah, okay,
things
I was
like
gonna say no, we should add the cloud because that was a good point that she made.
well, you we all have the cloud.
Yes, but it wasn't specific to that. The definition that Marvin had did not include cloud. It just said, oh gosh, where was that? Remember it said storage racks or,
Mainframe computers and storage devices. I think.
yeah. Mainframe computer storage devices, yes.
I
This
guess
would add the cloud.
my criteria would be that there's maybe a percentage, you have 75, 80% of your income comes from storing data. That would constitute, in my mind, a data center.
Do we want to put a percentage or should we just say the majority of your income comes from that?
Works too.
To me, I feel like it would just be better to say a
It
majority
would
of
be
your
hard
income.
to,
Determine
yeah,
that
70,
percentage.
yeah,
Because then it could, majority would be like 51%, right?
yeah.
Do you want to specify standalone facilities?
I don't particularly. Yes. Are there any other things we can clarify?
Let me look. You mentioned infrastructure as a problem, and I can't remember exactly what you said. I think there were potentially some other issues that were raised last week that
I said, going back to that,
Jeez, I believe water was in there, electrical.
that's why I put, yeah. So I said electrical infrastructure, groundwater resources, transportation systems, ag land uses, public health, safety, and welfare. Are you saying there was something else that was mentioned?
I don't remember if there was.
I think our conversation last week included electrical infrastructure and water mainly.
Yeah. Did it include noise? I can't remember if it did or
It
not.
did. We did talk
That's
about
what I
noise.
thought.
There is something in the proposal, regulations as far as setbacks and buffer zones.
Do you want noise included?
Yeah. Anything else from anyone? Okay, do we have everything?
As far as I can think of now.
Well,
I may think
you
of more,
that's fine
but
if you
as
think
far
of
as
more.
as far as I think of that helps with the narrowing down the definition of what.
Okay. My question is so this is related to the draft regulation that the planning commission has right now that they've put forward, there are regulations in there for data centers that can still be pushed forward even if the moratorium is in effect, or do we ask them to remove those?
I'd have to look and see exactly what they are. My guess is that they can stay because I don't think that that is addressing the same thing that you're trying to get at. I think, unless maybe it is. I don't know.
I'm gonna forward you what's in there just so you can have a look at it. It's probably that's probably easier.
There's also the aspect of decommissioning. I think that that would need to be.
I actually have that written down. Yeah,
That's a good one.
that would have to be put into the decommissioning section of the regulation. So yeah,
And it's there now. It's not
it is not there
No.
now, but it will need to be added. Yeah, that is on the list of things.
okay.
Okay, I'm forwarding you the regulation right now too. Okay, anything else? Okay, awesome. So then you think we'll be able to bring that back around next week? Okay. All right, we'll put it on there, and if not, then. Okay, so next item is agenda for June 30th, 2026. Okay.
Next week we have claims, but just as a reminder, the last claims day of the fiscal year was the 16th. But because of the 4th of July holiday, the bank being closed, the timing it takes ADP to pull our funds from the bank and all of that stuff, we need you to approve them still on next Tuesday the 30th, but we won't process them until July 1st so that they don't come out of this fiscal year's budget since it'll technically still be June. They will come out of the next fiscal year's budget. So there's claims. That was a really long explanation to get to the fact you have claims. And I have veteran of the month. Are you good?
Oh, they're always good.
Okay. So I was veteran of the month is 9/15.
Okay.
I have it in my calendar for next Tuesday.
They're doing a great job of
Thank you.
getting that.
And then the moratorium, that's all I have so far. I believe that Mariah also intends to come discuss her budget. So probably.
We don't typically do her budget outside of. We've already sort of seen it, haven't we?
Last year, last year you did discuss hers
Early.
because of the interlocal
Okay.
issue.
Okay. Works for me.
Okay.
Anything else?
But I was going to ask you, so next week we have 4 or 5 protests. 2 of them are 2 different ones, or 2 people who have 2 each. So I don't know if they intend to come out, but so yesterday after we had already scheduled the remaining ones that we had, we got one in at 5 yesterday. So unless any more come in this morning, and obviously we still have 2 days to evaluation, but do you want to have protests on because I need to send out the letter for the one that came in last night. Do you want to do it July 2nd? Or do you want
Yes,
to
we can.
do regular Board of Equalization and do it no, it's the 7th, I think.
Yeah.
Or do you want to it's the 7th. Or do you want to do Board of Equalization at normal on the 14th and then make up the rest if we get more in next? How do you want to do it? Because right now
When is
There-
normal Board of Equalization?
the 2nd and the 4th week of the month. Second.
Okay, so the first one would be the 7th then. So then I would say the protest that came in like last night, you add that one to the 7th.
Okay.
And then if there's time to get any others, then we add them to the 7th as well. And if any need to be kicked then to the 14th, then we can. I know you're looking, but they have to be filed by June 30th.
I'm saying if it's the 2nd and the 4th, that wouldn't be, we would have a special Board of Equalization the 7th. That's what your question is. Right. So do we want to have a special Board of Equalization on the 7th? Because we don't typically have it until it's the 2nd week in the 4th week.
Right,
Rather than be
that's
the
what I was
first week.
saying.
Yeah.
The 2nd Tuesday.
Would be the 14th.
Be the 14th.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, we just have, which we can just do a Board of
Yeah.
Equalization on.
If
I mean-
we have one next week, which is a normal. Next week is the 5th one of the month. So we added one for next week.
To hear the
Try to
protest that
make-
I'd already
yeah.
received.
Yeah. So I just need to know, and I haven't talked to Marilyn because that came in at 5 o'clock last night, and when I haven't had a chance to talk to her today. I think that she is fine with having them every week if you want to, but I just didn't know where we.
I don't want to see them
I don't.
pile up.
I don't want to jinx it, but I'll knock on wood. They were having. I don't know if there's. It's whatever you want.
Could we
I guess
discuss
I
it?
just
Could we discuss it next week if we needed to add?
Yep.
And then we could kind of view, because
I just
we
want-
have until the 30th for
Yeah.
people to file. And
I
so
just
then that
need
would,
to send notice for the hearing for the one who filed. They brought it in
Last night.
last night. So I need to get their notice in the mail, and I didn't know if you want me to do 7th or the 14th. I have one here. So. But I don't know if it just want to do it. Plan on doing it every week until we're done with protest.
I would do that because we don't, yeah.
And then if
You
we
could
don't
get like
have any,
20 in the next week. I'm just saying, I think we should just plan on it.
okay. So that's all I have.
Anything else? Okay. Then we will take a motion to adjourn.
I will move that we adjourn the June 23rd, 2026 County Commissioners meeting at 12:31 p.m.
Second. Please call the roll.
Hein,
Yes.
Herrick,
Yes.
Zabrowski,
Yes.
Yes, that's 4, 1 absent, not voting to adjourn the meeting.